3-2 to Stanton. Driven to left. Gone! Grand slam! He waited out the veteran and hits it out of here.
Oh, and she loves it. The 22-year-old outweighted the 49-year-old. That was theater.
That home run lit this city up last night, and it's the talk of baseball still as the Marlins and the Rockies continue the series. Game 2 of a 3-game set. The Fish hot right now, 15-5 in the month of May. Ricky Nolasco going after a record win tonight. Jose Reyes trying to keep the good times rolling, and Giancarlo Stanton will be swinging for the fences. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. It was a big win for the Marlins. They keep rolling right now. The home run by Stanton, you go back in history, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Reggie Jackson, when they would hit a long home run, they might get the tape measure out, but then the legend would grow and the distance would grow and the arguments would go. But we've got modern technology. We know exactly how far it went and exactly how quickly it got there.
Yeah, but Rich, the legend will continue to grow surrounding Giancarlo Stanton. The true distance, because of Hit Tracker, we're able to determine 462 feet was the true distance of that home run. 5th longest in the major leagues this year. The amazing thing, the speed off the bat, that's the fastest since they've been tracking these things. And keep in mind, he did it on a 75, 78 mile an hour pitch.
Yeah. We've got a lot planned for you tonight. It's a special night. It's Email and Twitter Tuesday, and Jose Reyes will join us live. Allison Williams on the field with the Marlins shortstop as the Fish get set to take on the Colorado Rockies. Game 2 is next. go out to center field. Craig at Niner.
All right, thank you, Rich. And looking at this game tonight, chance for the Marlins to clinch another series here the way they're playing.
And hopefully get Ricky Nolasco the Marlins record for wins as a starting pitcher. Looking for number 69 tonight. Keeping the strike zone around the corners, so I think he's got a good chance.
One guy who's been igniting the fish of late, Jose Reyes. He's standing by live with Allison Williams.
Thank you very much, guys. Jose, this team is 15-5 in the month of May, a season best, 4 games over 500. What has it been that's kind of come together for you guys?
I mean, one thing that we do was, first month of the season, we don't play too good, and we say, just put April in the past, and try the team like this is a new season starting in May, and now we play together as a team and we see the result.
Finally at home for a bit here. We've been on the road so much to start the season. 19 of 22 here in Miami. Season-long homestand. What are you looking forward to the most about being here at home for so long?
Just take it one game at a time. We know we're going to be here for like 10 days. Just take it one game at a time and go from there because, we know we're playing very good baseball right now. We just need to continue to go in the field and give it everything that we have.
You're hitting .423 in your last 7 games here at Marlins Park. Is there anything in particular you like about hitting here?
I mean, I just like it. This is home. I mean, when you play home, you feel comfortable. Just feel good. Hopefully, I can continue to play good here and home, also in the road, too.
All right, Jose, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Ali. What difference is the Marlins when Jose Reyes is igniting them in the lineup?
Well, he's in the leadoff spot for a reason. That's to ignite the offense. He's an electric player on the field, a terror on the base paths. So when he's successful, I think it dominoes through the whole Marlins lineup.
He's a fun guy to watch, too.
Very fun.
I know you play with him, a great guy to watch, and he's got an infectious ability and enthusiasm as well that hopefully the Marlins can ride to a very exciting 2012 season. They're on a roll. Nobody's playing better than the Fish since the calendar turned to May. They'll try to clinch another series win here. They could do it as soon as tonight against the Rocks. Game 2 coming up with Rich and Tommy.
Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Men in Black 3, in theaters May 25th. Marlins Park on a rainy evening in the South Florida area. The Rockies and the Marlins play game 2 of this 3-game set. The Rockies have dropped 5 in a row. They were swept by Seattle. SunTrust brings you their starting lineup. Jim Tracy looks this way with his lineup card. Jonathan Herrera at second. Jordan Pacheco at third. Carlos Gonzalez out in left field. Too low as it's short. Todd Helton hits fifth. Michael CUDDYER slides down to the sixth spot. Willeen Rosario is the catcher. Dexter Fowler in center. And Juan Nicasio is on the mound. There's a look at Ricky Nolasco.
Now, Ricky has some interesting numbers. We'll get into them against the Rockies. 5-1 in his career, though, against Colorado.
Pitch a penny brings you the first pitch, which is in. As Nolasco tries to get through the early innings unscathed. The last two starts, he's been knocked around, and in both starts, he gave up first inning runs.
One of those starts was here, and that was the one he really struggled in the first inning against the Mets.
1-1. Little pop. Reyes out, and it lands between Reyes, Kearns, and Brian Peterson. So Jonathan Herrera has a base hit. Here's the Marlins defense tonight.
Outfield deep. That's why that ball is able to drop with Kearns, Peterson, and Stanton in the outfield. Donnie Murphy again starting at second. Lomo at first. John Buck behind the plate. Omar Infante is in the house, though. He has arrived coming back from Venezuela.
Well, the challenge for Nolasco now as he faces Jordan Pacheco is not let the bloop hit bother him. To left, Kearns, and that one's going to fall in. Kearns picks it up, and the Rockies have two bloops and two singles, and now Nolasco has to pitch around this as he enters the teeth of the Rockies order with Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, and Todd Helton.
Yeah, this again, two excellent pitches, and these balls, the way they've sounded, have not been hit hard at all. The bloop by Herrera, that one by Pacheco. And you're right. Now all of a sudden it's Carlos Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, and Helton.
Gonzalez, who was having a very good offensive year despite the woes of the Rockies, who are just 4-15, by the way, in the month of May. But you would know it by watching Gonzalez go about his business. 1 for 3 last night, and Nolasco with a fastball for a strike. One of the most exciting players in baseball. Gonzalez right now tied for third in the National League with his 32 RBIs. He and Freddie Freeman. Andre Ethier leads at 38. Carlos Beltran at 33. Cargo, as he's known,
That's a good change up there.
was hitting the ball out to all fields in batting practice.
Yeah, you don't see too many left-handers, and we were watching BP. Here's that change up that has the little split grip, bottom fell out of it. But watching Carlos Gonzalez, he hit a couple into the Clevelander area, so the opposite field. That shows you the kind of power he has.
Nolasco, the 0-2 pitch. Roller, Morrison. Nolasco gets the out at first. Rockies move their runners up. Herrera's at third. Pacheco is at second. And now Tulowitzki will try to drive him in.
A couple of things happened there. We'll have to find out from Logan Morrison. Did he see the play unfold and decide not to throw, or did he not have a good grip on the ball and decide to get the out at first base? Looked like he had a play at second, but might not have had a good grip, or maybe just decided not to go to second.
Remember, Morrison has been in the outfield the last couple of years. A first baseman all his life. Now reacclimating himself to the position. And here's Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki last night helped get the Rockies going with a 2-run homer in the first inning. The Rockies jumped to a 4-0 lead in last night's ball game against Mark Burley. And it looked like Burley might not get out of the inning, let alone get into the middle of the game. And as it turned out, Burley got all the way into the 8th. He got 2 outs in the 8th inning. And look at that line. Those were the only 4 runs he gave up all night.
Something everybody else on the staff can learn from, watching Burley last night.
In the dirt, Buck has to smother it. And the count is 1-1. Tulowitzki is not having the best of offensive years. He comes in with 5 homers
18 RBIs. The power numbers are off it. Just 4 doubles for Tulowitzki.
I tell you, the other number that really jumped out at me, just 5 hits against left-handed pitchers, hitting 119 against lefties.
Here's the 1-1. It's up and it in, and a look down that first base line. Glenn Allen Hill, the Rockies' first base coach.
He's playing shallow and getting a few tips from the dugout. So you have to wonder if maybe he's picked something up. And I'm not so sure if I'm an umpire, I want to make him stay close to that box. I know if you had a left-handed pull hitter, he'd be the other way.
Tulowitzki down the first base line, because you're concerned if you're the opponent, and Hill again is wandering over to the dugout. It's not so much that he's discussing things with the dugout, it's his vantage point during the pitch.
Yeah, it leads me to believe that he's picking something up from the position he's at and relaying it to somebody in the dugout.
Glenn Allen Hill, a slugger in his time, some good years with the Blue Jays. No friend of spiders. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it's in. So 3-2 to Tulowitzki. You've got HELTON on deck, although it's a cold Todd Helton, and you see the numbers against Nolasco, though HELTON has pretty healthy numbers against Ricky as well. The 3-2. Missed. A couple of bloops, a walk, and all of a sudden the bags are loaded. And I know HELTON is cold, but as Jeff Conine said, the longer his drought goes, the sooner he's coming out of it.
Well, yeah, especially when you're a 300 career hitter. He came into this season, 16, 17 years in the major leagues, a .323 lifetime batting average. Right now, Ricky having trouble with the breaking ball. Spun a couple to Tulowitzki, had trouble finding the zone.
And the thing about HELTON is, even when he's not hitting, he's usually still getting on base. His career on base percentage well over 400. It was a bounce back year for him last year. He hit .302 and was on base at a .385 clip. Infield's back for 2. Ricky's 0-1 pitch. And he missed away. Well, actually, according to Fox Track, it was a better pitch than the first. That would be Marvin Hudson calling balls and strikes. Tim McClellan at first, Brian Runge at second. Ted Barrett is at third. The 1-1 pitch.
That's the kind of patience and hitter HELTON has been. Bases full of Rockies. HELTON has more career walks than strikeouts, over 1,200 career walks and a little over 1,000 strikeouts.
Nolasco ready, and his 2-1 pitch. HELTON rips it into right field, base hit. Stanton got a good break on it. They'll hold the second runner. Scoring is Herrera. Pacheco's at third, and the Rockies are off to a 1-0 start.
And that just falls into what Niner was talking about. Sooner or later, that the cream rises, and you know HELTON's going to come out of it. But he got a good pitch to hit, middle of the plate, right there. Not too many times he doesn't hit that pitch hard.
You're right. Got himself into a good pitcher's count, a good hitter's count, and got that good pitch. Now, Randy St. Clair, Miami's pitching coach, is on the mound. If you talk to Randy St. Clair, in fact, if you talk to Ricky Nolasco and ask both of them what has Ricky's issue been, and the answer would be fastball command.
And I'm sure Ricky, in his message out there, talked a little bit about that and also said, you know, you can get you a double play ball right here and get out of this inning, giving up just the 1 run. But he's got a guy who swings the bat pretty well, Michael CUDDYER.
Michael CUDDYER had the 2-run double in the first inning last night. He was 1 for 3. Infield's back for 2. And Nolasco misses in. That,
again, trouble spinning that breaking ball.
And he doesn't have fastball command, nor does he have breaking ball command.
We haven't seen that sharp, biting breaking pitch.
There's a strike, and it's 1-1. Such a great start to his season for Ozzie Guillen. Nolasco racing out to a 4-0 start, but then the last 2 starts that we talked about, the start against the Mets, where he gave up 6 runs, 3 in the first inning, and the 4-inning start against the Braves, in which he gave up 4 runs.
The one plus I think Ricky has here, number one, he's got 2 pluses. He's gotten ahead 1 and 2. As you see the differential April and May numbers. The other thing, CUDDYER's never faced him before. So this is the first time CUDDYER, who's a real good hitter, has faced Ricky Nolasco.
Bags loaded, a run across on the Todd Helton single. And Nolasco from the belt. There's 1-2. Low. And it's 2-2. Well, Fox tracks at the knees. Right now, Ricky's not getting the calls on the black or at the knees. And CUDDYER waits a 2-2 pitch. Broke his bat. Another blooper. Murphy goes out. That's going to fall.
Wow.
Scoring is Pacheco. Holding at third is Tulowitzki. So 3 bloops of the 4 hits for the Rockies. It's a 2-0 start.
This is amazing. I mean, this is a great pitch off the plate. It's down. CUDDYER chases it, hits it on the end of the bat, breaks his bat, and is able to drop it into shallow center field. Now remember, in Atlanta, at times the defense let Ricky down. Here so far tonight, he just can't catch a break with some pretty good pitches.
And this is a guy, if you make a mistake, can hit the ball a long way. Willeen Rosario. He's also aggressive at the plate, and Nolasco gets a strike on the first pitch. Look at the home run. 6 homers already. Rosario, the 23-year-old Dominican. 16 games in the big leagues last year with the Rockies.
They like his offense for sure.
He's kind of a young version of a Miguel Olivo type. Very strong, good throwing arm.
So he's like Olivo, strong like Bull.
Maybe stronger in terms of power, from what the Rockies say. One. Driven to center. Peterson back. Makes the catch. And Tulowitzki's now tagging, and he's going to score. So it's a 3-run first for Colorado. Marlins fell in a 4-0 hole last night against Jamie Moyer. They dug themselves out of it. Of course, one of the big blows was the Giancarlo Stanton grand slam, but here Colorado has scored first again. It's 3-0.
Well, one thing about the Rockies, I mean, they have their issues, but scoring runs isn't one of them. They're 3rd in the league in runs scored.
Dexter Fowler now. And Nolasco misses away. The other issue here is pitch count. Nolasco about to throw his 27th pitch of this first inning. Without the long double and the booming home run, this has a very similar feel to Mark Burley's first inning last night. Burley gave up 4 runs.
One thing Ricky can do, if he gets out of this giving up 3 runs, he can take solace in the fact that going to the dugout, and Burley will tell him he had a good outing in the first inning, only giving up 3. Good pitch. That's a pitch early on to a couple of right-handers he couldn't drop in.
Velasco trying to regroup. And he's 1-2 to Dexter Fowler. HELTON at second, CUDDYER's at first. And Fowler takes down HELTON. Now, Fowler has been one of the hotter Rockies. Though he went 0 for 2, he had just come off a homestand in which he was 5 for his last 10. A homer, a couple triples, a double. There's a look at it. And 5 RBI.
Yeah, I tell you what, on the year he's also hitting over 360 with runners in scoring position.
Here's the 2-2. And it's up. And so the Rockies will start their runners. Velasco facing the 8th hitter to come to the plate, and all that's left is Juan Nicasio, the pitcher. He's on deck.
30 pitches for Ricky. The first inning is the most productive inning for the Rockies this year.
Popped in the air, and it's out of play. You can measure this inning in a lot of ways. The Rockies have 3 runs. Velasco has thrown 31 pitches. Or Tommy Hudson has eaten half the bag of peanuts in front of him already. On an email Twitter Tuesday.
These 30-pitch innings do that. We got a few tweets already, and I know you have some emails, but we haven't had a chance to jump in yet.
No, I mean, we have to throw out the ceremonial first social media salvo, whether it's an email or a tweet. But you gotta have the appropriate moment, and it's hard to do it when there's runners on and balls are dropping in and things are happening. 3-2 coming. Ground ball. Morrison has it, and he'll step on the bag, and the inning is over. The Rockies get 3 to start this night in Miami. Lineup will try to start digging out of this hole. The Fish at 23 and 19. It's the high water mark, and SunTrust brings you the Marlins lineup. Jose Reyes at short. Brian Peterson gets the start in center. Handler Ramirez at third. Austin Kearns 4 hits last night. He's back in the lineup tonight. Giancarlo Stanton lit up this town, lit up the baseball world with that grand slam. Logan Morrison at first. John Buck will do the catching. Donnie Murphy at second, and Velasco hits 9th. And there's a look at Juan Nicasio. His record at 2-1, the 4.37 ERA. But of course, his story starts with the line drive that hit him in the head last year. knocking him to the ground, and once he hit the ground, he broke the C1 vertebrae in his neck. That line drive coming against the Nationals. That was on August 5th. It's an injury that is any physician will tell you can result in death or paralyzation. And for Nicasio, thanks to the quick work of the Rockies trainers, he's back on the mound and he's pitching.
And he has good stuff. His fastball's in the mid-90s. However, he's had a couple of starts this year where he's walked 5, so he can get a little wild.
Reyes takes a strike, and it's 1-1. This was August 5th of last year.
To pitch 1 or 2 innings in the first September. He's scheduled to pitch 1 or 2 innings in the first.
Ian Desmond, the hitter.
Starts. Go ahead, guys.
And that one misses outside. And the interesting thing, there's milestones for recovery for every injured athlete. For Nicasio, it was not only getting up on the mound, Tommy, but also getting a ball hit at him again.
Hey, the amazing thing, they told us his first start in spring training, first batter he faced, guy hit a line drive right back at him over his head.
And in his last start, Willie Bloomquist of the Diamondbacks hit a line drive that hit him in the rear end. Here's the 3-1. And that's a strike.
Reyes making him work, by the way.
He will rush it up there. He can touch 95 with that fastball. There's his 3-2 to Reyes. That's in, and Reyes has walked. Scanning report on Mr. Nicasio.
Well, the 25-year-old out of the Dominican. The scouting report brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. Real easy arm delivery. I think you can see that as you watch. So that electric 90s fastball, mid-90s, and we talked about the scary moment. And I think Greg mentioned it in Marlins Live. It was shortly after that the Marlins were in Denver when he came back and returned to the ball club and was in the clubhouse talking to all his teammates.
Here's Brian Peterson now. Peterson had an interesting night last night. He opened the night with a single, and then he struck out 4 times. Reyes away from first. Nicasio steps off. It's a good time to lob out the ceremonial first email of the night. It's from David in Wellington. And he wants to know, do you think that Jose Reyes will have more stolen bases at the end of the year than Giancarlo Stanton has home runs? Reyes with 13 stolen bases. Stanton's grand slam last night, his 9th home run.
Well, I'd like to think that Giancarlo will hit 40-ish. And I'd like to think that Reyes will steal more than that. So I'd have to go with Reyes on that.
Pitches outside. Thomas in Lakeland.
By the way, it's absolutely pouring outside. I'd really be sitting here eating peanuts at the old place.
Thomas in Lakeland wants to know, are you surprised that Jose Reyes has not hit a home run so far?
Nah, not really. You don't think about it. You think the home runs from Reyes are like bonus points.
Peterson takes outside. And it counts 2-1. Well, Reyes last year winning the batting title at .337, had 7 homers, led the league in triples with 16, and also had 31 doubles. And he stole 39 bases last year. Stanton hit 34 home runs last year.
And I throw out the first tweet from Michael.
You go for it.
Wants to know if there's ever been a balk that won a game. Yeah. Against the Marlins, it was John Rocker.
A walk-off balk.
It was a balk-off. And the ball kind of just trickled out of his glove while he was in the set position with the bases loaded and fell to the ground. And the Marlins won the game.
I think the headline of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution was debacle. It is a social media Tuesday. Reyes is at first. Nicasio to the plate with a 3-1 pitch. Peterson rips it into right field. That ball's getting into the corner, and off to the races goes Reyes. Into the corner goes CUDDYER. Here comes Reyes. Peterson headed for third. Reyes will score. Marlins on the board. A triple for Brian Peterson.
That's a nice way to respond when the opposition puts a 3-spot up there in the first inning. Reyes had a great at bat. He was really patient with Nicasio, made him pitch, drew the walk. Brian Peterson smoked that ball down to that right field corner. A lot of room down there. And once a right fielder gets there, because it's a long way away, Reyes scores easily from first, and Peterson, with his speed, able to make it to third. See, two looks. He looked over his shoulder, then he picked up Joe Espada, Marlins third base coach.
Now Hanley Ramirez, who has hit in 5 straight and was 2 for 3 last night. Rockies infield deep with nobody out. Nicasio throws a strike.
Hanley's done a nice job in this situation right here.
Chance to get a couple of the runs back quickly. Nicasio, in his last 2 starts, has only given up 1 earned run in each start. That's going to change here. Hanley bangs it into center. Peterson scores, and it's a 3-2 ball game.
When you as a team have had what happened last night, and the Marlins have done it a number of times this year, come from behind, you never have that feeling that you're totally out of the game, and especially in the first inning. Though the Marlins have that feeling going right now, and it's a good one to have.
And we have our first Bob Apodaca sighting of the night. Poor Bob was at the mound, it seemed like, every inning last night. Rockies pitching coach returns. Austin Kearns is up with nobody out, and Hanley at first base. Willeen Rosario, the young catcher, as far as a scouting report, is a good catch and throw guy. He's not the best in terms of framing pitches. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the Marlins running game tonight. Kearns last night was 4 for 4. And he got the start because the Rockies not only had a left-hander going, but it was Moyer, and Kearns has had good numbers against Moyer and good numbers against lefties, and it worked out. He even got hits off the right-handed relievers that came in.
No, the bottom line, he's being rewarded for producing. What a concept.
That's something you learn pretty quickly about Ozzie Guillen, is that if you have a good game or you produce, you get rewarded for it. And those are the last 10 games for Austin Kearns. I think we saw the same with Greg Dobbs. And Dobbs and Kearns adding depth to the Marlins bench, but with Omar Infante, who we saw in the dugout moments before first pitch, with Infante back, obviously with the demotion of Gabby Sanchez, the injury to Emilio Bonifacio, that depth has helped fuel this run from the starting lineup. There's Bonifacio, soft cast, left thumb. Cast comes off during the day, lots of physical therapy and treatment, and he's hoping that it's just 2 weeks. Hanley away from first, the 1-2 pitch.
One thing we saw last night from Austin Kearns, and by the way, he's not wearing the torn pants with the 4 for 4 night. But the one thing we saw that was just outstanding is watching his approach against not only Moyer, but the right-handers he faced. Very patient, got good pitches to hit.
Runner goes. It's taken low. There's the throw. It's high, and Hanley swipes the bag. His 8th of the season. The count is full on Kearns.
You had a feeling the Marlins would take advantage of the young catcher back there, Willeen Rosario. Peek over his shoulder, just wanted to see if the pitch was a strike and if Kearns was swinging.
I'm not sure if those have been patched or if those are new drawers.
I think they're new.
3-2 coming. Burns lines it foul.
Let's put it this way, Rich. In the minor leagues, they'd be patched. In the big leagues, you get a new pair.
Even after a 4-for-4 night, huh?
Yeah.
It counts 3-2. A very eventful first inning right out of the chute. Three-two coming. It's down low. And Nicasio has walked a pair. He's given up a triple and a single. Here comes Stanton. And here's the Rockies' defensive alignment.
Well, we'll check on how the Rockies set up with Cargo, Dexter Fowler, Michael CUDDYER, Jordan Pacheco, and Tulowitzki on the left side. Jonathan Herrera starting this one tonight. He did not start last night. HELTON at first, and William Rosario behind the plate.
Well, here is Stanton. Not only did he light up the town, but all kinds of great statistics surrounding his grand slam. He swings and fouls it back. As we showed you at the outset of the telecast, the true distance from HitTrackerOnline.com checked in at 462. Maybe the most impressive thing wasn't the distance, but the speed at which it left the bat. Stanton into center. Fowler dives. Did he get it? Yes, it's a catch.
Wow.
That's tough to judge if you're a base runner, because just watching it from up here, impossible to tell if he caught it or trapped it.
And I tell you why it's a terrific play by Fowler, because you have Stanton hitting it. He got jammed, so you're playing deep anyway, and there's a lot of space between the shortstop and second baseman and the center fielder. He got a good jump, read the ball well, and then hung on. Notice how he just cups it as he hits the ground. That's a nice play by Dexter Fowler.
And that's the first out of the first inning. The ball left Stanton's bat at 122 miles per hour. It was a 72-mile-an-hour changeup from Moyer. Morrison now takes a strike. HitTrackerOnline.com has been not only tracking distance but also exit speeds off the bat, and since they've been doing it in 2006, that's the fastest they've ever recorded a ball leaving the bat on a home run. A one pitch. It's a strike.
Change up, fastball. First two pitches to Logan Morrison. Right now would be the opportunity if Ricky Nolasco has touched base with Mark Burley in the dugout. Burley say, hey, you're right back in this thing. A lot of time to go.
Casio's 0-2. Breaking ball, ground ball. HELTON to his right, out there. The relay to first is not in time. So the Rockies get a couple of outs on the fly ball by Stanton, the force out by Morrison, and it's up to John Buck to keep this inning going. So Buck stands in, and John is struggling right now. He's won for his last 16 with 8 strikeouts in that span. We've had a lot of tweets and a lot of emails already wanting to know why the telecast last night was commercial free. It's a strike. It was not our first foray into public television. There was a problem at Master Control where they run the commercial breaks from, and it affected not only the Marlins telecast but other Fox regional telecasts. But we were happy to bring you the game commercial free last night. Buck with a high fly ball to center field. Fowler is there, and he makes the catch. And I'm happy to report that with the pledge drive, Tommy Hutton sings the hits of the 70s. We sold 63 box sets. broadcast on a rainy night is in high definition, brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Inside Marlins Park, let's go to Allison Williams, the social media Contessa.
Is that what we're going with?
That's what we're going with tonight.
Okay. I like that one, I guess. It's the lesser of three evils, I suppose. Guys, it is Email Twitter Tuesday, everybody's favorite. All the buzz on Twitter last night was Giancarlo Stanton's absolutely monster of a grand slam that he hit and busted out the scoreboard, of course. Everybody was talking about it, not just here at the park and across Major League Baseball, but also on Twitter, and that included some of his teammates. Let's take a look at it again because it really was a thing of beauty. Here's what Steve Cishek said about it. He said, and boom goes the dynamite. Brian Peterson, so Giancarlo broke the scoreboard tonight. That was cool. And this guy, a fan, Patrick Truby, said, I've reached the point where I'm disappointed that Giancarlo only hits a home run instead of demolishing the baseball's soul, because that is pretty much what he has come to do when he puts a bat on the ball and really gets a piece of it. As you guys know, not just the distance, but the speed. That was truly amazing last night, 122 miles per hour. So pretty impressive stuff, and people on Twitter definitely were blown away by it, as all of us were, guys.
All right, thank you. Hey, A-Dub, how's the social media gathering? Isn't there a lot of bloggers and social media mavens like you?
Mavens like myself. They are out in the bullpen lounge. There's a group of about 60 people. I will tell you this much. They have free food out there, free beer. They're tweeting, blogging, doing their things. Some of them are new Marlins fans. Some of them have been fans for a long time, loyal supporters, which are being rewarded with free tickets and the VIP tour, the whole experience. So I'm going to head out there at some point during the broadcast, check in with them, and I'll let them tell you for themselves how they're enjoying their night at the park here.
All right, you got it. Thanks. Jonathan Herrera's at the plate, leadoff hitter for the Rockies. Taps it. Morrison gets it and gets to the bag in time, and Nolasco getting 2 quick outs. 8 came to the plate. 3 of them scored in the first inning.
We mention this every once in a while. When a pitcher has a little trouble maybe getting a particular pitch over. We saw in that first inning Ricky had trouble with his breaking ball. Well, sometimes it helps, and to lead off this inning was the pitcher, Nicasio. So Ricky was able to drop a couple of breaking balls, get a feel for it, struck him out with a good slider. Now all of a sudden it looks like he has a better feel for that pitch.
Here's Jordan Pacheco. He extended his hit streak to 8 games with a bloop base hit in the first, and that's, I guess, the plot of that first inning. Nolasco gave up 4 hits. 3 of them were bloop hits that fell beyond the reach of an infielder and in front of a charging outfielder. The 0-1 to Pacheco. There's that breaking ball.
One quick tweet, Stephanie and a lot of others are wondering, maybe Allison can find this out, maybe Craig or Niner during the course of the evening. A number of people are wondering what it costs to repair the scoreboard.
I'm not sure. I think it came back to life on its own.
I think it did too.
It regenerated itself. Struck him out.
Nice job.
Outside corner, 1-2-3. Though the Rockies, a nice bounce back inning for Nolasco in a 3-2 game. There's no better way to stay connected with the Marlins than through the team's official social media channels. And you can do it at Facebook.com/Marlins or Twitter.com/Marlins. Latest in team news, updates, all of that. Drive to right. CUDDYER went in. Now it's back, and it bounces over the fence and into the bullpen. Donnie Murphy has a leadoff double.
It's really been a unique start of the season for Donnie Murphy. That's just his 5th base hit, but he has 2 doubles and 2 home runs. So 4 of his 5 hits, extra bases, and he drove that ball right over the head of CUDDYER. 1 bounce into the bullpen.
CUDDYER is a very good outfielder, and I think his first step was in. And a lot of carry on that ball. It sets up well for Nolasco. Let's see if he can move Murphy to third base. Nicasio chases him back. Now the issue here is you've got a Gold Glover and a terrific athlete, even though he's, what, 38, with Todd Helton at first base. And he is inching closer and closer. Nolasco's got to get it down third base side. Nicasio pounces the throw, and Murphy is out. And so the Marlins waste that leadoff double. Nolasco's at first.
Yeah, you can hear everybody yelling in the infield, especially the catcher. Yelling to Nicasio, third base, third base. He pounced on that ball well. It's a tag play, not a force play. Pacheco right there to put the tag on Murphy. So the bunt, if it's a little bit up the third base line at that same hardness, it didn't have to be a soft bunt. It would have been successful, but not that time.
Now Reyes, who opened the first with a walk. The Marlins had an opportunity for not just a 2-run inning, but a much larger inning than that in the first. They scored 2 runs and had runners at first and second and nobody out. But couldn't get another run home. Dexter Fowler made the great diving catch on the Stanton ball. Morrison bounced into a fielder's choice, and John Buck, on the first pitch he saw, hit a fly ball out to center. We have a fish tank question, Tom. As I see that shot of Reyes. And the question is, I'm trying to scroll through and find it, how come the lights are turned out in the fish tanks? And actually, from the player's perspective is what you're seeing. The outside of the tanks are tinted and tilted so that there's no reflection and it doesn't distract an infielder. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Because you don't want distractions to an infielder or an outfielder.
That's from Brian in Fort Myers.
He had a tweet wanting to know if the roof is Stanton proof. May have to check with Claude Delorme on that one.
Liner to left, and that's in for a hit. Nolasco moves to second. Reyes has been on board twice. And here comes Brian Peterson, who tripled in the first inning.
Reyes really starting to get comfortable at Marlins Park. Coming into this game, Jose Reyes was hitting .328 in home games, so he's starting to settle in nicely.
And here's one of the numbers to think about when you're looking at Reyes this year. He has walked 22 times, and he's only struck out 13 times. His walk total last year was in the low 40s. I leafed through the media guide to find where it was. Here's the pitch to Peterson, and that's a strike.
He's liable to get to that at the All-Star break.
Yes, and that's something that Eduardo Perez, the Marlins hitting coach, has talked about. You can look at Reyes's batting average, which is about .255 right now, but also look over at the on-base percentage, which is pushing .340. Peterson takes outside, and it counts 1-1.
Peterson with that triple, first triple of the year, first RBI. .43 walks last year for Reyes.
The 1-1. Peterson fouls it back. Noah wants to know, why don't they protect the scoreboards at Marlins Park? And I would tell you that the out-of-town scoreboard on the wall and left, that's protected. I think the scoreboards above the bullpen protected. But up there, I don't think they think anyone's going to go up there. And down the left field line, I don't think they thought Stanton would hit a 122-mile-an-hour rocket off the scoreboard at 462 feet like he did yesterday. Craig, you have more on that?
Yeah, guys, what I heard yesterday was actually they could just turn the system off and it sort of rebooted like you would if you had a computer problem sometimes. So apparently they didn't need too many repairs.
That's good to know. 2-2 coming to Peterson. Juan Nicasio. It's out. Nicasio's pitch count is getting up there as well. He's at 39 pitches. This is very similar to last night in that both pitchers took a while early in the ball game. Burley especially in the first inning, and Moyer throughout the first 4 innings. 3-2 coming. Game 2, 3-game set. Final is tomorrow. Alex White, a right-hander for the Rockies. Big Z with a low ERA for the Fish. Carlos Zambrano 2-2 with a 1.96 ERA. He was probably more animated than anybody in the ballpark on the grand slam last night. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. High fastball. And Peterson couldn't catch up until the second out of the inning. And here's Hanley Ramirez.
Peterson upset. He had a pretty good pitch. He hit the pitch before. It looked like a 3-2, just kind of a hanging breaking pitch. It was up. And then after he fouled that pitch off, Nicasio came back with a hard fastball and got him to chase it.
Hanley, sharp ground ball to Lewitzki. Backhand, sets his feet and gets the out. And the Marlins have a great opportunity to get by him again. 3-2 Colorado. Park just moments ago, a proposal. I don't know the gentleman's name. I don't know his fiance's name.
She accepted. I'm not so sure, Rich. This could be our first at Marlins Park. I'm not sure. We may have had one earlier in one of the home stands.
Not their first kiss, though. Glad she said yes.
It's nice that she accepted, yeah.
I've seen those go sideways, and that's not a pretty thing.
Hey, speaking of sideways, Ricky's first inning went sideways. Threw 32 pitches, gave up the 3 runs. But he came back in the second inning, threw 9 pitches, 8 of them were strikes.
Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, and Todd Helton. So this is a good test to see if Ricky's back on track. You've got guys that have had success against him, and certainly guys that are dangerous hitters regardless of who they're facing. Little tapper, and it just snuck foul.
One of the tweets, Rich, wanting to know, are we the only team that devotes a night to Twitter and email?
In this form, yes, where it's just free form.
I think some teams will take a couple of emails, things like that.
It started with an email Tuesday, I want to say 2006. Breaking ball for a strike.
So the answer would be yes in this format.
Yes. There's our Twitter handle. 1-2 pitch coming. And we have a broad reach. In fact, Rick in South Dakota says that his 6-year-old son Boston and he watch all the telecasts on the laptop computer, I'm sure with the MLB.TV. Would love to watch the Marlins in person. How far in advance do they plan interleague scheduling from year to year? Roller to first, Morrison picks it up and flips it, and Ricky gets there. Gonzalez runs well, and when Morrison looked up, I think he was further down the line than he thought he would be. Anyways, Rick and his son Boston in South Dakota, as we watch Morrison look up and decide to flip it. They want to come see the Fish wanted to know if the Marlins are going to make a trip to Minnesota next year in interleague play. Well, there's 2 things there. Number one, the schedule for next year is going to be very different from this year because there will be interleague play on every day with 15 teams in the American League and then 15 in the National League. And so no one's quite sure what the schedule will look like or how the interleague format will go. In what form will it exist? Here's the 1-0. Tulowitzki drives that to deep center. Back goes Peterson at the track, makes the catch. That is the deep part of the park. Let's check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Dub.
Well, I am here with the couple that just got engaged, so congratulations to Gus and Fanny. Fanny, I'm going to start with you. Did you have any idea?
Absolutely not. I'm like in shock right now.
We think this might be the first here at Marlins Park.
We are the first to get engaged here at the Marlins Park.
And what made you decide to propose here today?
Because we are the first to get engaged at Marlins Park.
Like there needs to be any other reason, but obviously big Marlins fan.
Absolutely. Go Marlins.
So how do you feel right now?
It's surreal. I'm still like trying to sink it all in.
Trying to process it, and I come and stick a mic in your face. Isn't that nice of me? First of all, can I see the ring? Very good job. Very good job. So how do you feel to know that not only are you engaged, you're the first to do so here at Marlins Park? That's a little bit of history.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing. This is my first day at the stadium, so it was just amazing just to come and I look at the stadium. So this is just it's going to be an unforgettable day and evening.
How did you plan all this?
We've been for about 2 weeks now, coordinating with the guys from Marlins Stadium. They were very helpful in helping me out. You know, we were supposed to do it last week, and we got rained out, but everything went great, so we're very happy.
Well, congratulations, guys. Back to you.
Thank goodness for the roof, because you don't want your engagement rained out. 3-2 Rockies.
And some of them are subtle, like this one on the columns. The starting lineup. Jose Reyes batting first. Brian Peterson hitting second. Hanley Ramirez batting third. Austin Kearns hitting in the cleanup spot tonight. The lineups are on the columns. Welcome back to Marlins Park. So many great features here at Marlins Park, and some of them are subtle, like this one on the columns. The starting lineup. Jose Reyes batting first. Brian Peterson hitting second. Hanley Ramirez batting third. Austin Kearns hitting in the cleanup spot tonight. The lineups are on the columns on both sides of the promenade. There's Stanton batting fifth. Here's Morrison batting sixth, and so on. So, as you come into the ballpark, before you even see the scoreboard, you know who's playing in the game. Richard, Tommy, back to you.
All right, Craig, it's a nice feature.
That is.
And I'll bet as Austin Kearns came in and saw his picture up there in the fourth spot, pretty happy.
I know sometimes when you and I are trying to determine the lineup for the night, we walk down, look at the columns, write them in our scorebook,
buy a smoothie, and come back up.
And by the way, 11 pitches for Ricky last inning, so he's thrown 20 pitches in the last 2 innings.
Meanwhile, it's a one-run Rocky lead, and Austin Kearns is still hitting. Smokes it out into center field. Kearns walked in the first. A shot here in the third. The Marlins, however, have not had their offense pay off in this one, even though they got 2 runs in the first. They had first and second, nobody out, and didn't score those runs. They had a leadoff double in the second and didn't score that run. And they're still down a run here in the bottom of the third. And here is Giancarlo Stanton. Cholula Hot Sauce brings you the spotlight player. 4 career grand slams. Ted Williams, Eddie Matthews, Ken Griffey Jr., and Giancarlo Stanton. The only to do it before they turn 23.
That's a great list. That's Williams and Matthews in the Hall of Fame.
Griffey
is headed there. So that's a tremendous company for Giancarlo.
Casio's out in front, 0-2.
Excuse me, Rich, he's had quite a run against the Rockies, too.
He's homered in 5 consecutive games against the Rockies. Remember the series at Coors Field last year? He didn't just hit home runs. Every one seemed to be a tape measure shot.
I think he hit one in left field on that back walkway over the bleachers.
Oh-2. Drive into right center field. That's a base hit. A laser beam going to the wall. Let's see if Kearns can score. To third. Espada will send him. Here comes Kearns. He scores easily. And this game is tied. Stanton with his 10th double of the season. RBI number 29.
I'm not sure how many times I'm going to use the word laser in association with Giancarlo, but it's probably going to be a lot, because he hits another laser beam into right center field. Watch this. Unbelievable, the speed that he generates and how the ball comes off that bat. It just dies. We've seen a lot of balls do that, and I think the Marlin outfielders are starting to get used to that a little bit.
Morrison now bouncing to a fielder's choice in the first. Now, the Rockies have not deployed the shift that the Indians did over the weekend, which was very successful against Morrison. Do you expect that the Giants or the Nationals, who also come in on this homestand, will?
You know, as we talked about it in Cleveland, all sinker ball guys, you know, this staff, the Giants staff, they're different type pitchers. So Would they do it? I wouldn't be surprised, but I doubt they will. They'll probably use the same setup they always have with Logan Morrison.
Morrison obviously trying to pull that ball and try to move Stanton to third.
Yeah, worst case scenario, if Lomo makes an out, you'd love to see him get one to the right side to get Giancarlo over to third.
You wouldn't mind having him hit into the what would be the shift. I can't. I looked up on that ball and I expected to see Jason Kipnis, the Indian second baseman, about 20, 30 feet out on the grass.
That'll be a vision you'll forever have from Cleveland.
Because Lomo hit, what was it, 5 balls right to him.
The amazing thing about him is because Kipnis was so deep, they were all bang-bang plays at first base.
Stanton following the Kearns hit with an RBI double. It's a 3-3 game in the bottom of the third. Throw not in time. Let's finish that last email from Rick and his son, Boston. Not sure what the interleague schedule will look like. Possibly the Marlins will go to Minneapolis. I'd love to go up and see Target Field next year.
Yes, I have not seen that ballpark.
But if the Marlins aren't there, they're headed to Milwaukee. That's up your neck of the woods as well. Marlins are headed to Milwaukee later this season. Morrison swing and a miss. Rosario throws down to first. And an empty out there. Big strikeout for Nicasio. We told you the Giants and the Nationals are coming to town. Yes, Pablo Sandoval, I mean you. The Giants are hoping to get Pablo Sandoval back. Thursday through Sunday, that's a 4-game series. 4:10 start on Saturday. Marlins are going to see.
Going to see the whole arsenal.
They are.
On that Giants staff.
Vogelsong, Lincecum, Bumgarner, and Kane. They'll miss Zito. And then the Nationals come to town. The red-hot Washington Nationals. One of the great stories in baseball this year. The Nationals are a half game behind the Atlanta Braves in the East. The Marlins, by the way, are 2.5 back, sitting at 4 over. Atlanta, the division leader. And here's Buck with a chance to knock in a run.
By the way, it'll be our first look at Bryce Harper. He was not with the Nationals when we were in D.C., and the Nationals have jumped all over Roy Halladay with a 5-1 lead in the 4th inning. Harper 2 for 3 with a triple. The hot Ian Desmond has homered again.
Buck swung at a pitch that was in and then takes a fastball down the middle. And when you're not going well, that's kind of how it feels at the plate.
Well, it's been a struggle, one for his last 17 now. And that's what happens when you're in one of those slides. The pitch that's right there, you don't pull the trigger on.
See what he gets 0-2. Little tapper, Stanton, Pacheco. Nice pick for a guy that's been doing it all his career. HELTON at first. If the Marlins are going to cash in anymore, they need Donnie Murphy to come through. A reminder, you can pick up the 4 for $54 family pack, which includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 4 bags of chips, and it starts at $54. Next Tuesday, Marlins Nationals at 7:10 is the next 4 for $54 night. Individual and group tickets available online at marlins.com. Murphy doubled in the second. And he takes outside.
Rich, before it gets too late over in England, we want to thank Leon for checking in with us. And he loved Petey's triple early in the game. I'm sure he liked Giancarlo's double as well that tied it.
Jim Tracy, skipper of the Rockies. They're going to walk Murphy. And Nolasco's going to come up with runners at the corners. It's a 3-3 game. And Jim Tracy can look at it one way or the other. I mean, he can look at it if Nicasio can get out of this and keep the game at 3-3. The Marlins will have stranded a couple of runners in each of the 3 innings in this game.
Yeah, they left 2 on in the first, 2 on in the second. Ricky doesn't get anything here. They'll leave a couple on in this inning. Put a little pressure, though, on a guy that's not had pinpoint control tonight, Nicasio, by walking Murphy. If he doesn't throw strikes to Ricky, then he's going to have to deal with the top of the order, Jose Reyes.
Jim Tracy, after the game, was talking about the reluctance to get into the bullpen as early as he had to last night because Moyer didn't get through the 4th, and he had to burn up some innings that he wanted to hold on to. He had 4 different relievers work last night, and now he's staring at a starter that has already thrown 63 pitches with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
And has fallen behind the opposing pitcher, Ricky Nolasco, 2-0. So I would hope Ricky would be taking here.
Nope.
It's a different game.
Stanton across the diamond. Murphy. Nicasio's come back with 2 fastballs for strikes, and it's 2-2. Nolasco has 3 hits this year. It takes outside, and so now it's 3-2. You see Reyes on deck. Nicasio hitting 95 with that fastball. At the very least, if you're Nolasco, you know it's a fastball. Ricky, left center field, in the gap, to the wall. Stanton scores. Murphy scores. Ricky drives in 2.
As we've said before, probably the way he did it off his older brother David in a wiffle ball game in the backyard. He swung through a couple of fastballs earlier in the count. As you said, he knew he was going to get it. There was no question. It was the only pitch Nicasio was going to throw, and Ricky was right on it.
And here is Reyes now. No one throwing in the Rockies' pen. And Reyes fouls it off.
Fastball, middle of the plate. Ricky turns on it. Not only did he hit it well, he found that gap. But by finding the gap, that's why Murphy was able to score all the way from first base.
2 RBIs for Nolasco. 0-1. Well, maybe getting that a good rip at a 2-0 fastball and getting another fastball in the AB. By the time he got to 3-2, Nolasco had timed it out perfect.
He was loose.
He was. You could just see the angst on Jim Tracy's face. There's some activity in the bullpen.
This is right now the biggest issue the Rockies have, starting pitching.
Without a doubt. And especially in a place like Denver, That's a huge issue. Herrera gets Reyes. Giancarlo Stanton drove in 1. Ricky Nolasco drives in 2. And the Fish, after falling down 3-0, are on top, headed to the 4th. Of the score. Since it's the 4th, it's time for the AT&T trivia question. Who's the only Rockies pitcher to hit a home run against the Marlins? If you think back in Rockies history, one of the great hitting pitchers of his era, Mike Hampton.
See, with Rockies pitching questions, I usually go with Pedro Estacio, because he was there so long.
Well, Hampton
but he wasn't the hitter that Hampton was.
No, Hampton was a terrific hitter. And I assume that the bell, there you go. We apologize to everyone that was trying to think of that. That was a shot in the dark. And a fairly easy question.
Here's a great analogy of how Ricky has settled in.
CUDDYER hooks one into the corner. Kearns goes after it. Michael CUDDYER has 15 doubles already.
Of course, I say that CUDDYER doubles, but the first 6 hitters had 4 hits, a walk, and they scored 3 times. The next 6, up until CUDDYER, Ricky had retired.
Only Joey Votto has more doubles in the National League than CUDDYER. He was tied with David Wright and former Miami Hurricane Yonder Alonso, who had 14 doubles coming into play tonight. I haven't checked to see if Alonso or Wright have doubled, but my social media assistant, something's up in left field. Mike Kozak
going out to check on Austin Kearns.
And Austin Kearns is coming out of the game. Boy, this is ill-timed for the Marlins and for Kearns, who had 4 hits last night, is 1 for 1 tonight.
We had a look at Kearns when he was coming around to score. He's grimacing. He's not running well. That was on the Giancarlo Stanton 2-base hit. Tough to get Kearns out. Chris Coughlin will come in. Kearns 5 for 5 in this series.
Now Willeen Rosario. Velasco's breaking ball misses outside. Well, the Marlins played last night and a couple of games in Cleveland short a player because of Omar Infante leaving the team, his grandfather passing away in his native Venezuela. But Infante is here. It wasn't easy getting here. His flight was actually diverted because of the rain in downtown Miami. It was diverted to Fort Lauderdale, where he landed this afternoon, but they couldn't deplane. Because they had to clear customs, so they sat and refueled and took off and then landed here in Miami, where he deplaned and came across the Dolphin Expressway to Marlins Park.
So he is here and available. He was hoping to get here in time to play, to be in the lineup.
CUDDYER leadoff double. He's at second. And Velasco gets Rosario swinging.
Had a tweet earlier, trying to see who it was from Will. Was checking in on the youngster up in Jupiter, Christian Yelich, wanting to know when Yelich will arrive here. He will arrive here, but it won't be for a year or two. But hitting .283, 9 doubles, 2 triples, 7 home runs. Yelich has a slugging percentage of .551 and on base at .368. We saw him in the spring, and he's a good-looking left-handed hitter.
That's great news, and he continues to progress. When a guy gets better every step up the ladder, that's very encouraging. Dexter Fowler is 0 for 1. CUDDYER still at second. Alex in West Palm. Does Marlins Park have the most triples per game in Major League Baseball this year? It's a good question. We'll put our crack staff to work on that.
I'm sure you have parks like Coors Field, Citi Field, even though the fences are a little bit shorter there this year.
I think AT&T Park in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
Like that gap in right center.
But then a lot of that depends on the hitters and the speed. They don't have the speed that the Marlins have.
Fowler last year banged out 15 triples. He was 1 behind Reyes, who led the National League. John Buck is on his way out to the mound. I think at the open of the series, we had a graphic on home runs per game in Marlins Park was 24th or 25th in baseball.
In that area. By the way, leading the league in triples, Melky Cabrera of who? San Francisco Giants. Oddly enough, he was tied with the O-Dog, who got released by San Diego, and I believe just signed with the White Sox.
Popped up, Hanley over with room, and makes the catch.
And because of the shape of his bullpen, Jim Tracy has to go ahead and send Juan Nicasio to the plate. He just can't afford to pinch hit for him here and dig into that bullpen again.
Velasco has a couple of outs after giving up the double to CUDDYER on an email and a Twitter Tuesday. A lot of Gabby Sanchez questions. Wanted to know how he's doing, how you think he will do, how long before he comes back. Well, he can't come back within, what is it, 10 days, unless there's an injury on the 25-man roster.
I've seen, we talked about it last night. Gabby reported played Sunday, 1 for 3 with a double, and then an RBI. He was 1 for 3 next game, so he's 2 for 6. He's drawn a couple of walks, which I think is really important for him.
Velasco strikes out Nicasio, and CUDDYER is left at second. 5-3 Marlins. Is brought to you by Columbia Pictures' That's My Boy, starring Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg, in theaters June 15th. By 1-800-NEED-HELP. Accident, slip or fall, one call. That's all. 1-800-NEED-HELP. That's 1-800-633-3435. And by Sagicor. Plan a bright financial future today at SagicorLifeUSA.com. In Miami tonight, lots of rain. South Beach drying out.
Lots of activity in the area.
You want activity? Well, this ball game has had activity. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Rockies. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Fish. Ryan Peterson is already up for the 3rd time against Juan Nicasio, and it's been a rough ride for Nicasio. Marlins have had multiple base runners in each inning. Peterson an RBI triple, and he struck out in the 2nd. Up the middle, Tulowitzki. Look at that play. Oh, wow! Tulo. Troy Tulowitzki, 3 Fielding Bible Awards, 2 Gold Gloves. This is incredible.
Well, he shows his range by how far he went, and then his accuracy and the strength of his arm. A pirouette while he's in the air, and completed the throw and just gets Peterson. Wow. You'll see this one later on tonight. This will make most of your highlight shows.
Let's see it in Foxmo, brought to you by Toyota.
Plants on the left.
Here's the 1-0 to Hanley. And it's a strike.
Rich, I got a couple things real quick. Marlins updates upset that I didn't mention their Twitter handle. Sorry about that. But Alex has a tweet that many others have had concerning Giancarlo and the home run derby during the All-Star game. Will he be invited? Will he participate?
Roller into center.
Not going to get that one.
Let's answer trivia.
I think you already did.
I know.
But
sorry.
I did a quick check. Mike Hampton, 246 career hitter, and had 16 home runs. So he was a tremendous athlete. Gold Glover on the mound.
By the way, the crack staff has reported Marlins Park is 5th for triples in baseball this year. Coors Field, Miller Park. Runner goes. Hanley's in there. Ball's in center field. Hanley's at third base.
Second stolen base for Hanley tonight, taking advantage of Willian Rosario, the young catcher. Big jump. Throw sails away from Tulowitzki, and quickly Hanley ends up at third. So 9 stolen bases on the year now for Hanley. He's got a hitting streak alive, 6 games.
And the infield comes in. Coughlin's first at bat. He came in for Kearns. Fastball down the middle. 1-1. To Coors Field, Miller Park, Petco Park, Busch Stadium, Marlins Park. Marlins Park 5th for triples per game. Hanley 90 feet away. Coughlin's first AB. The irony here is that were Kearns not to have gotten so hot and go 4 for 4 last night, Coughlin probably would have started tonight. Kearns does start. He walks and singles, but he leaves with some sort of injury that affected his running. We'll try to get a report. Into the bat, shallow right. CUDDYER in. It falls, a base hit. And turnabout is fair play. The Rockies had 3 of those in the first inning. The Marlins get a bloop RBI single from Chris Coughlin.
Good feeling for Cogs joining the ball club. Struggled early on, hit a few balls well, didn't have a whole lot of luck, and then just didn't hit well. Was sent down to AAA, got things together, was on a nice roll his last few games in New Orleans. So good to see him get that blue base hit.
Bob Apodaca making his appointed round this inning. Out to talk to Nicasio. And that allows us to jump back into the email bag. This is from Juan.
I have one quickly after you, too.
This is from Juan Knight Stan. That's his Twitter handle. That's nice. Hanley has done a great job in his transition to third base. Has he received enough credit? You think Hanley's received enough credit?
I think he has. He certainly has from his manager. Ozzy's talked a lot about the play of Hanley, and I think the more we see him, the more we forget that he was such a terrific shortstop. He's a third baseman now.
Yeah, he's made just 1 error on the season. And Coughlin is back. Stanton's at the plate. RBI double. He was robbed of a hit when he blooped one to center, but Fowler got there and made a diving catch. Nicasio ready. Pitch outside.
Before we get to this one, we got to answer the Stanton home run derby. I think it's, you have to be invited, number one.
You got to make the All-Star.
You got to make the All-Star team first and foremost.
Then you get invited. But I think if he makes the All-Star team,
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, because you want television ratings, you want buzz, and
that would be buzz.
I think you got both of those with that at bat last night.
He'd be pounding them in the fountains at Kauffman Stadium. So that should just make you go out and vote for Giancarlo even more. How about Esme? Last name, Esme, wants to know, as a Jamaican woman, she watches a lot of baseball. And she wants to know, Rich, are you the same Rich Waltz who plays tennis in the Flex League?
Yeah.
So you're in the Flex League.
I am.
You've been a champion.
No, come on. That was blind luck.
You play for the club championship? Well, you top 2 in the club.
No.
Come on. You're downplaying your ability.
It's in my contract. I'm supposed to do that. Here's the 2-1. Stanton fouls it back to the screen. And the count's 2-2.
Explain to me, a non-tennis person or of a golf person, explain to me Flex League.
Well, it's a league that it's not a league that has a schedule. Since I work every night, you are able to schedule your matches during the day, weekends.
So whenever.
Yep.
Very flexible.
There you go. 2-2 coming. Stanton fouls it into the glove of Rosario. A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Now Morrison.
Yeah, I was just thinking the home run derby, unlike the slam dunk contest, you don't have to be an all-star to be in the slam dunk contest.
Right.
But the home run derby, you'll vote for Giancarlo, and then we'll deal with that when it arrives.
One-0 pitch. Morrison hits it hard to right, and CUDDYER picks it out of the lights and makes the catch. Marlins get a run on the Coughlin single and stretch the lead to 6-3. On an email and Twitter Tuesday, we had a tweet from MAISAM Bob. How are the Marlins social media participants selected? And for that, we go out to the gathering of social media folk out there and the Contessa of social media. Allison, how are they selected?
They are selected through a process which I am not completely in tune to, but I know there was about 400 of them, and from that they picked a mix of loyal Marlins followers, bloggers, and also people that had maybe never been to a Marlins game but were very active on social media. So it sounds like it was a bit of a random question. Don't quote me on that. Nothing official there. But they picked about 34 people, so we've got about 60 people out here because everybody was allowed to bring a guest. I'm with Jonathan, who was one of the lucky few selected among the many applicants, at JRod.
JRod24_.
And you actually tweeted me earlier to come out here, right?
Yeah, I did that.
How are you enjoying yourself?
It's great. I love it. I have season tickets, and I always said I want to sit in different places, and this is one of them. And I got lucky, and I get to enjoy it here.
Yes, out here in the bullpen lounge. It's actually kind of a cool view from here in right field. He's got the Loviste t-shirt too. Tell people how you got that, because we had a lot of tweets about the Loviste t-shirt.
Well, first, when I had a question, I tweeted Bonifacio, and then he answered me and told me to go to the official one, which then I went there, and then their eBay, they started selling. Right now, I'm pretty sure they stopped, but they're making new colors and stuff, so I guess just stay tuned.
All right, there you go. An answer to some of the tweets we had. I want to move down here. This is Brenda and Shannon, who I had a chance to chat with earlier. Marlins fans, Brenda, I know you're a big fan, and tell us a little bit about your story a couple years ago and how you used the Marlins to get through a tough time.
Sure. I had 3 brain surgeries, and I was very sick, and watching the games and following all of you on Facebook and Twitter, had made me feel much better, and I'm here tonight. So, I mean, it's wonderful.
Brenda, I'm so glad you're here and having fun. And Shannon, tell me a little bit about Brenda, what a big Marlins fan she is.
Oh, she's a huge Marlins fan. I have to say, I think Bonifacio is her favorite, but she loves all of the guys, and and we're just really happy to be here.
And very active on Twitter. Do you tweet with us on?
My tweet name is La Marlina 2011.
And you tweet with us on Twitter Tuesdays, right?
Yes, I do.
There you are, in person here. And Rich and Tommy, she was sending lots of love your guys' way. So you're a couple of our favorites. We've got more. I'll tell you, I've never seen so many iPads and iPhones out in one area. Everybody is doing their social media job here. I'm going to check in front. What's your name?
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly, nice to meet you. What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is @KellySucks.
And how have you enjoyed your experience here in the social media lounge?
It's been wonderful. It's my first time here at Marlins Park, and I'm super impressed. As a fashion blogger, I don't make it out to so many sporting events, but I'm rocking my Victoria's Secret Loves Marlins tee.
Nice.
So, gotta represent Miami. Love the Marlins. Love the stadium. We've been treated very VIP tonight, so can't complain. Great experience.
So as a fashion blogger, this is fun for you because they've got all the different uniforms, too.
Of course. I actually got a chance to interview Logan.
You did? How was he?
I did, at the launch of the Victoria's Secret Pink collection, and he wasn't what I expected. He's a nice guy.
You didn't think he was nice?
No, I mean, I'm sure he's a very nice guy. You know, he's huge on Twitter, so very apropos tonight for the social media lounge. Shout out to Logan.
I'm not surprised he was at the Victoria's Secret. I have a question, though, for you. Have you seen our broadcast at all?
I do.
Okay, who's the best dressed? Craig, Preston, Cliff, Rich, Tommy, or Niner?
Well, I'm kind of biased because I'm good friends with one of the Fox Sports girls, so I have to give it up to Anna Lee.
That wasn't an option. This is a male-only option. I didn't even include myself because I knew I wouldn't get it. Well, but of the male broadcasters, who is the best dressed?
I'd have to say Craig.
What?
Oh!
You don't watch our shows, do you?
But I must say that you look very stylish
I'm
tonight.
leaving.
Thank you.
I give you an A.
I get an A. All right, I will take it from the fashion contesta. Richard, Tommy, I thought it'd be one of you guys for sure.
That was a good
Clipper
segment,
Preston.
Allison. A-Dub, that was a good segment until you got to that. You've got to be kidding me.
Thought it would be one of those guys, Allison.
Craig, you win. Are you shocked?
No, I'm not shocked at all. And I don't even know her. That's what I'm shocked. No, I think the guys in the studio that I work with, I would think even Rich. Oh, great. It's a tough play over the head there, but I think Cliff and Preston would be my choices. Take it away, Rich.
All right, thank you. Well-dressed Craig. That was a bloop double. Carlos Gonzalez sending it over. Hanley went a long ways and almost made the play.
This is not an easy play. He's going directly away from the play, down the line. Saw a couple of hits like that in the first inning.
Ricky Nolasco had those 3 bloop hits in the first inning. The Rockies would get 3 runs, but that's all they've been able to get, as Nolasco is looking for a record-setting win. Is his 3rd shot in trying to become the all-time winningest Marlin. Tulowitzki now with 2 outs. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Tulowitzki has walked and scored, flied to center. Nolasco 68 wins, 53 losses in his career. Sharp ground ball. It's into left. Charging is Coughlin. Gonzalez is going to score easily. Tulowitzki drives home run number 4 for the Rockies. And that brings up Todd Helton. And it's our Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stats. Last night versus the Rockies, 4 for 4 was Austin Kearns. His first 4-hit game since 2006. Just as the Marlins count on Kearns, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Here's Helton now, RBI single, and he is grounded out.
And hopefully, Rich, Austin Kearns just has tightness in that hamstring, and it's not too bad. Hey, we had a tweet from Jeff asking about Todd Helton. Hall of Famer or just a really good player?
Well, Coors Field has helped him. There's probably no debating that, but it may, in the long run, hurt him in terms of getting to Cooperstown.
And even with that, the numbers are tremendous. 351 home runs, closing in on 2,400 hits. But you're right about the home and road splits. There they are. At home, a 350 hitter, and on the road, a mere mortal at 290. It'll probably hurt him. He's won Gold Gloves 5. He's been an All-Star 5 times. He won a batting championship. But probably not. A terrific player.
I think better than just a really good player. He's a really, really, really good player.
Yeah, yeah.
He's as close as you can get to not being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And he's killed the Marlins over the years. Hit for the cycle against the Marlins in Denver.
And a dangerous guy up with a runner at first. And Velasco misses outside.
We had that tweet. Can't remember the name. Who hit for the Marlins last cycle? Nobody. They haven't had one.
Stacy in Wellington, outraged at that last guest. How can you not vote for Tommy, especially with his new stylish glasses, when he's rocking the leather coat in cold weather cities?
Now there's a real connoisseur there, Stacy.
Broken bat. Murphy has it. Inning over. Rockies get one back, but Velasco's still up. 6-4. Rainy night here in Miami. We're joined now by legendary broadcasters. They played a little baseball too in their day. Cookie Rojas and Tony Perez. Hi guys.
Hi Tony. Hi Richie. How are you guys?
Hey, we like coming to you guys when the Marlins have the lead. It's a better conversation.
Absolutely. Right. No doubt about it.
This has been a really odd game. Hasn't it been, Cookie? I mean,
it really has been. You know, in the first inning, you know, they scored 3 runs. And then last night, in the same way, the Rockies scored 4. And then Burley and Nolasco, they hold their opposition by 1 hit all the way now to the 5th inning and giving their ball club a chance to come back. I think that's great. Great pitching, and they're starting to see the hitting that is coming around, which is very important for a ball club.
I think the other thing, too, when the ball club got down, they knew they came back last night. So they do the same thing tonight, no problem.
Absolutely. I think that helps a lot.
That's right.
Hey, Cookie, I have a question for you. I know so many times we hear you when you refer to Tony Perez, you call Tony Tani. Now, I know in Latin America, that's what he's called. Explain that to us.
Well, I think that's the name is actually Anastasio Perez. And then they call him, Tony sometimes, and then sometimes they call him Tanny, you know. And you know the good thing about it is that he answered to both of them anyway. You know,
I do.
so
I usually just use Doggy.
That's
you
what I
use
do.
Doggy.
Yeah.
That's better, right?
Who gave you that nickname?
Lee May. Lee May in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Lee May.
Well, Lee May gave me the one, the big dog, and Pete Rose started calling me Doggy.
Well, I can say, having been a teammate of Tony, of Doggy, of Tony, I call him Doggy because I can't call him Tony. I can't do it.
Well, when you write me a check, I say, but no matter, I was just playing.
That's a foul ball over here coming over.
Cookie, you missed it.
No, I couldn't reach it. I could not reach it.
He got
Almost.
the second baseman and the first baseman.
You got great hands.
I'm not going to jump out there, that's for sure.
It was a good right side of the infield. Look at this.
Yes, sir.
Right there, Cookie missed that.
That was way in front of me. No chance.
All right, guys. Good to visit with you.
See you. Same here.
Have a good telecast. Good guys. You know, it's one of the things that we as broadcasters are very fortunate because around this ball club, you have Andre Dawson, the Hawk, Hall of Famer. You have Tony Perez, Tony, Doggy. You have Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin. You have Cookie Rojas, who had such a great Major League career. You have this wealth of baseball knowledge and history that at any time you need it, you can ask them about a player from their era, from the 60s or the 70s or the 80s, Niners case, into the 90s or the 2000s.
And to carry that over as a player on the Marlins club, you have all those different individuals to tap into.
That's why I think it's nice that Fox Sports Florida has added Cliff Floyd and Preston Wilson this year, because now we've got the whole
we have it all covered
from the 50s all the way to present day.
Niner preparing for a post-game show.
And let it be noted that Niner finished in a distant fifth in the wardrobe selection by the fashion blogger, well behind Craig. I don't think Niner knows that yet, but when he gets to the center field set, he'll be steamed.
Yeah, don't tell him.
He will be steamed. Dashing in his sport coat and tie. Ricky Nolasco had one of the biggest hits, maybe the biggest hit for the Marlins in this game, a two-run double in the third. But Juan Nicasio has hung in there. He just struck out the side in the fifth. To the sixth we go. In Miami tonight, the Marlins have a 6-4 lead over the Rockies in the top of the sixth on an email and Twitter Tuesday. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, along with Craig Minervini and our social media Contessa out there in right field, Allison Williams. A-Dub?
Hey guys, still here in the social media lounge. I'm with Sabrina, who is like checking her Twitter feed as we speak. Sabrina, I know you are not the biggest Marlins fan, but what do you think of your experience so far here?
Oh my God, I love it. Absolutely. The whole team here at the Marlins, they definitely treated us like kings and queens. We've had drinks, food. I mean, the view is amazing. It's been lots of fun.
Your daughter here is having fun as well. So tell me a little bit, who are you on Twitter and how active are you?
I'm pretty active on Twitter. I tweet about, I would say, 15 to 20 tweets a day. I have over 1,200 followers.
Nice.
And right now I'm tweeting with the people that are here in the social media lounge, and we're just talking about, you know, the whole experience, and we're taking pictures and everything, because, you know, my daughter, she's pretty active, she's pretty hyper, so I have a bunch of pictures of her here with Billy the Marlin.
Yes, Billy was here just a few innings ago.
She keeps asking about him.
Still looking for Billy. And lots of other people here all hanging out, iPads out, tweets are sending out, so you can follow all of them and find out what's going on here in the social media lounge. Guys.
All right, thank you, A-Dub. Ground ball, Reyes' way. Fires to first in time. They may want to tweet out that Michael CUDDYER is a doubles machine. He's got 2 in this ball game. He's got 16 now on the season. He's 1 behind Joey Votto for the National League lead.
Yeah, he also has a 3-hit night. The Rockies have had an interesting run the last 3 innings. They had a leadoff double in the 4th, did not score. They got a 2-out double in the 5th, and they did score. So a leadoff double here in the 6th inning.
Dexter Fowler, and then probably a pinch hitter. That one is pulled foul. Jim Tracy has been reluctant to lift Juan Nicasio from this ball game, despite his struggles. In fact, he had Nicasio come to the plate with CUDDYER in scoring position and 2 outs in the 4th. Nicasio got him a couple more innings, though the Marlins got a run off him in the bottom of the 4th. Now the Rockies bullpen is in motion with the pitcher spot on deck. Big curveball for a strike from Velasco.
Good to see that Ricky's rebounded. We talked about that a lot in that first inning. He had trouble with that pitch, but lately he's thrown it much better. Josh Reineke, we saw him last night in the game.
0-2 coming. Foul back to the screen. Marlins pen, Mike Dunn and Ryan Webb. Around the division, Nationals 5-1 over the Phillies now in the 8th in Philadelphia. Mets and Pirates 1-1, top of the 8th. Reds lead the Braves 4-2, bottom of the 7th in Cincinnati. Changeup that just missed. This is game 2 of a 3-game series. The Marlins slammed the Rockies last night 7-4. Giancarlo Stanton's scoreboard busting blast. The big hit. Here it's 6-4. Nobody has left the yard in this one. One-two coming. Velasco trying to become the all-time winningest pitcher in Marlins history. And Ricky wants to talk with John Buck. See, pitches 4 and 5 have missed out.
Yeah, both changeups. Ricky also trying to go 6-1 in his career against the Rockies. There's that all-time list. Ricky atop there with D-Train at 68. JJ with his win in Cleveland gets to number 50, just passing A.J. Burnett. Brad Penny, just reading where Brad Penny has signed a contract with San Francisco, and they plan on when he's ready to pitch, using him in the bullpen.
Breaking ball, wow. Velasco thought he had strike 3 called. You could see home plate umpire Marvin Hudson point with his thumb and say it was out. Here's a look. And it was out. It came around the outside of the plate. Pitch number 6. See if he throws that breaking ball again. CUDDYER still at second. 1 out in the 6th. Got him. Buck digs it out and then pounces on Fowler before he can escape to first.
Boy, to Ricky's credit, to John Buck's credit, they stayed with the off speed and finally got Fowler to chase a really good changeup. In the dirt, the split change, good play by Buck, and then to get the tag on Fowler before you have to make the throw.
Yeah, it's worth noting for John Buck, it's been a nightmare at the plate. But behind the plate, he hasn't let those struggles affect him. He's won for his last 19 with 9 strikeouts, but he's still calling a good game and still working hard behind the plate. Is it easier for a catcher to shake off a struggle at the plate than, say, an outfielder?
Yeah, I think so. I can't totally answer that because I never was a catcher, but I think you have so many things to think about that. They're calling a game, handling your pitcher, looking at defenses. You can't spend time. You can go in the outfield and you can think of your last 2 or 3 at bats while you're standing out in the outfield.
Tyler Colvin, we saw him last night. And Colvin takes outside. He's on leaders of the game. The Rockies getting a 309 average from their pinch hitters. The Marlins at 311. A lot of that Austin Kearns and Greg Dobbs. Breaking ball strike. 1-1. Ricky trying to get through this 6th inning.
And I would imagine, even though Ricky made the last out last inning, if he gets through this inning, he's approaching 100 pitches. He's had some stressful innings. I would imagine this will be his last inning. He's showing some great off-speed stuff, though, here in this inning. He may try to talk himself into one more inning, too.
It's amazing to watch Nolasco for the last 4 innings, and having watched him really scuffle in the 1st inning. Even though he gave up the pop-ups and the blue pits, he still didn't have the command.
Yeah.
Colvin, the big slugger out of Clemson, who had a big year in 2010 with the Cubs and absolutely dropped off the map last year with his struggles. And Nolasco, another great changeup and another strikeout. Well, if this is to beat the night for Ricky, he has shown the Bulldog in him. A 6-4 lead in the 6th. Top bottom of the 6th. Sunday, NASCAR on Fox will be in Charlotte as defending champion Kevin Harvick and points leader Greg Biffle lead the world's best drivers in a chase for the checkered flag. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing with the Coca-Cola 600 live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Sunday in prime time at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. Speaking of racing, we had David Sampson in last week. He talked about the Sea Creatures race, and we want a little more NASCAR look, and look who's in front. The Octopus winning for the first time, taking the checkered flag. We actually have
lots of high fives too from the Octopus.
We have a new pitcher, and we have a Sea Creature email. Josh Renicky, who has had a nice year out of the pen for the Rockies, takes over for Nicasio to open the 6th with Reyes, Brian Peterson, Hanley Ramirez. Coming up, Adrian from Boca regarding the Sea Creature race. Last week, you and David Sampson talked about how to enhance it, how to make it more exciting. Here is Adrian's idea. How about the creatures race around the track with one of the Clevelander dancing girls waiting at the finish line? The winning creature walks off with the Clevelander girl. The loser gets draped in a big fishnet and escorted off the field by a sushi chef. How's that for plot?
That's very, very thick.
As Tommy noted, Renicky, one of 4 relievers that Jim Tracy had to turn to last night. Jam shot and a slow roller. Herrera gets Reyes.
Yeah, Renicky came in, only faced a batter, got an out. Faced a couple of batters, but got one out in that big 4th inning when the Marlins scored 5 runs.
Let's check in with Craig Minervini, the well-dressed Craig Minervini.
Yes, thank you. Hey, Rich, Tommy, as you know, baseball is all about winning series, and the Marlins have not lost a series since late April when Arizona took them 3-1. In fact, this is actually an historic run for them in terms of unbeaten streaks in series, which I'll show you after. They've already matched the 5th best run of unbeaten streaks in series. They're 5-0-2 in the last 7 series. Their all-time best in terms of a run of unbeaten streaks in a series was back in '97. Up top there, they won 7 series and tied 5. These are series of at least 2 games or more. So should they win either tonight, hang on, or tomorrow, this would take it to their 4th best run of series ever, which is pretty remarkable. And it's a good run for the Marlins. Back to you.
Somebody has put on a Rocky uniform and is impersonating Troy Tulowitzki, because the guy that made that pirouette ballerina throw from behind second just airmailed a routine play.
Well, it's you go into fielding slumps, just like hitting slumps, but something's going crazy with Tulowitzki. He's not made any more than 11 errors in any season over the last 5 years. He made just 6 errors last year, and for Tulowitzki this year, that was number 8 already.
This is a guy that entered this season with the best career fielding percentage in baseball history as a shortstop. Now, we throw around the name Gold Gloves, and yeah, he's got a couple of those. He's won 2 consecutive. There's the data to back that up, but we've talked so much the last few years about the Fielding Bible Awards, and that's based on all the defensive metrics and the baseball scholars and historians, and Bill James, the Rob Nyers, the John Duhans. And Tulowitzki's won 3 of those. Hanley into left field. That's a base hit. Here comes Petey. Ball's dropped by another Gold Glover. And it's 7-4. A very costly error for Tulowitzki and the Rockies.
And the bonus to that is that the Marlins are taking advantage of it. Boy, there were times a few weeks ago when the Marlins were having some struggles where they'd get opportunities. The opposition would make an error. They'd make a poor throw. They'd miss a cutoff man. The Marlins wouldn't capitalize. So it's good to see them capitalizing on it. Hanley with his 3rd hit tonight.
Hanley's got a couple of stolen bases tonight as well. He's at first. Coughlin's at the plate. And Renicky steps off. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Hanley on the move. 1 out. This game's only in the bottom of the 6th. Check swing, and Coughlin fouls it off. FIU Smoothie King. Guys, I know it's raining, but the Marlins played a game with windows open and roof closed. Do you think that would help the ball carry? I think they did that in one of the exhibition games against one of the college teams.
I think against Miami.
I will say this. One of the things the Marlins have found when they open the windows and leave the roof closed, on most days the breeze that comes off the ocean shoots right in through left field. Now there are days where the wind is still, and that's not an issue. Coughlin rolls it at second. Nice play there by Herrera to get the out at second. Excuse me. Marco Scutero snuck in the ballgame. Special guest appearance. When you're answering emails and tweets, sometimes that happens.
Well, last night we had Donovan Solano sneak in the game, making his Major League debut, playing an inning of defense and turning a nice double play.
Giancarlo Stanton. We have a Stanton swing question from Steve in Gainesville. How many times have we said crack staff tonight? Not enough for the people in Gainesville.
Not enough for the people in Gainesville.
Tommy, Steve says he remembers watching Harmon Killebrew swing the bat, and he wants to know if Stanton's swing is similar. He remembers Killebrew's at bat as chopping a tree down type swing, a short, powerful swing.
Yeah, it was. Killebrew was only about 5'11", but stockily built. Held the bat back, though. It had a little more of an angle back toward the umpire in that direction. But over 500 career home runs for the Hall of Famer, Harmon Killebrew. I will say one thing I really enjoyed reading, one of the comments by Giancarlo today, talking about his hitting. He doesn't want to be a 40-homer guy that hits 240. He wants to be a hitter. He wants to be a good hitter. I don't know if he'll ever hit 300 for a year.
Whoa!
But he will if he keeps doing that.
Second hit of the ball game. And that one, when we talk about the exit speed, and again, if you weren't with us for the outset of the telecast, the home run that he hit last night, some 462 feet, left the bat at 122 miles an hour, and it's the fastest a ball has been recorded off the bat since Hit Tracker Online has been recording homers starting in 2006.
Well, you just hope that in his career he doesn't hurt a pitcher or an infielder with a shot just like that.
Amen. Or scoreboard.
Or scoreboard.
Morrison now. Runners first and second, 2 outs. Lomo and Renicky gets a hold of it, flips to first in time. The Marlins add another and stretch their lead against the Rockies in Miami tonight. 7-4 Fish. in the 7th. Let's check in with Allison Williams.
Hey, Rich, I am here with baseball fan, author, and collector, Zach Campbell. He has 11 balls just from today. How many baseballs total do you have now?
Lifetime, 5,970.
Insane. So almost 6,000. How did this all start?
It started when I was 4 or 5 years old, watching baseball on TV, seeing baseballs flying into the crowd, seeing fans grabbing them and celebrating like it was the best thing ever. Little kids are impressionable. I wanted to experience that. I went to games for 6 years, ages 6 through 12, before I finally got a batting practice ball, and it was like the best thing ever.
And 5,969 balls later, what do you do with all of them?
I give away about maybe 3 balls a game to kids. And actually, if anybody who's watching this sees me before I leave the stadium tonight and comes and says hi, I'll give you a baseball. I also raise money for a children's baseball charity called Pitchin' for Baseball by doing this. And I just keep the rest.
And you have actually become friends with some of the Major League players because you've traveled all over collecting baseballs, oftentimes here early during BP, and that includes our own Heath Bell. Tell us how you got to know Heath.
Heath came up in, I believe, September of '04 with the Mets, and I live in New York. I just flew down here for these 2 games. This is my 50th Major League stadium. And Shea Stadium used to open 2.5 hours early. The Mets were out of it by September. There was like nobody in the ballpark. There were like 8 fans in the stadium. I was always out there in right field shouting for balls, and one day Heath was like, dude, how many baseballs do you need? But he was cool about it, and we just got into talking, and he remembered me over the years, and we've become pals. It's pretty cool.
And he hooked you up on this trip as well. Your first trip to Marlins Park, what do you think, and how is it getting balls here?
This is actually kind of a tough place to get baseballs because the outfield seats are not terribly expansive, and you have the upper decks kind of overhang the lower deck, so it's kind of challenging. The Clevelander is definitely the best place in this ballpark to get balls. Now, of course, I just said it's tough here, and I've gotten well above my average per game. I've gotten 21 balls in 2 games here, so I can't knock this place. But it's just a really snazzy design. I mean, the architecture, the angles, the nooks and crannies. I'm impressed with this stadium.
What are some tips for people that come out to a ball game and want to try and go home with a souvenir?
Definitely show up early for batting practice. The Clevelander in particular, sometimes it opens an extra half hour early so you can get in here at 5 o'clock. Bring a glove. Print up rosters of both teams so you can identify the players. You can get a lot of balls thrown to you. I see what we have here.
This is smart.
This is a Rockies hat that I brought. I also have a Rockies jersey. And no, I'm not rooting for the Rockies. I have a hat and shirt of all 30 Major League teams. And I've found over the years that players love to throw baseballs to little kids and beautiful women. And since I'm neither, I've had to get kind of creative. So
you got the visiting team logo. It's
exactly.
Very smart.
I can ask for balls in other languages too. There's just all kinds of tricks.
And Zach, before we let you go, I want to talk a little bit about one of your books, Watching Baseball Smarter. I read it. I enjoyed it. It's a quick, good read. I know our producer bought it for a lot of his interns. Tell us a little bit about Watching Baseball Smarter.
It's a book that was inspired because whenever I went over to hang out with my parents to watch a big game on TV, they would ask so many questions that it just drove me crazy. And I figured there must be a lot of other people out there whose parents or boyfriends or girlfriends are driving them crazy with questions. So it's just a book that teaches you how to watch the game, how to understand absolutely everything you could see, whether it's on TV or in person, and just to have a few laughs in the process.
A simple, good baseball book, Watching Baseball Smarter. Zach Campbell, got a few more souvenirs for your luggage on the trip back to New York. Thanks for chatting with us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
That's one of the best in-game guests.
That's a sharp guy.
We have ever had.
He knows what he's doing.
Knowledgeable, likes the part. 0-2, and an author as well. Jordan Pacheco couldn't hold up, and he goes down swinging. Steve Cishek in his first inning in relief. The Marlins bullpen trying to bring home what could be a historic win for Ricky Nolasco, as Nolasco tries to become the all-time winner. He's tied right now with Dontrelle Willis. Ricky, who gave up 3 runs in the first, buckled down and got through 6.
And helped himself with a 2-run double. Right now the plan for Ozzie is Cishek, Mujica, Bell.
Scudero's at first, and a dangerous hitter, Carlos Gonzalez, swings and misses. It's 0-1. Gonzalez, much like the Marlins' Hanley Ramirez, has that batting helmet caked with pine tar. And Gonzalez fouls that back. Kyle, what's the record for most Grand Slams hit by a 22-year-old player in the majors? And do you think that Giancarlo will break that? Well, earlier in the telecast, we showed you that statistic that Stanton has joined 3 other players who have 4 Grand Slams before they turn 23. Ken Griffey Jr., Eddie Matthews, Ted Williams, and now Giancarlo Stanton. So to break that record, to get to 5, he obviously has to do it this year. Stanton's birthday is early November, November 8th. Cishek gets Cargo. Pair of strikeouts now. There are 2 outs, and here's Tulowitzki.
Good to see after the leadoff walk.
The next Jiffy Lube Friday Night Live is this Friday. It's the 25th. Marlins and Giants at 7:10. After the game, head to the West Plaza for a free concert with freestyle icon George Lamont. Presented by Heineken Light. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com.
Lee with a great tweet. With Stanton's bat speed, the power he has, can you imagine if he had played college ball with the aluminum bat? He did use the aluminum bat in high school. But can you imagine that?
On the other hand, you think in his formative years at 18, 19, and early 20s before he got to the big leagues, he was swinging the wooden bat. And bouncer up the middle, backhanded by Murphy. We'll discuss wood and aluminum when we return. 7-4, everybody up. 7th inning stretch in Miami. In Miami tonight, Our JM Lexus game reset. The Marlins have a 7-4 lead, and that's after Ricky Nolasco gave up 3 in the first. But the Fish, with help from Nolasco's bat, got the lead back and have held on since. John Buck, Donnie Murphy, and the pitcher spot for the Fish. Buck 0 for 3. Ground ball to short. Tulowitzki. And that one almost over the head of Helton.
Wait, you almost start to think, does Tulowitzki have what they just refer to as the thing, the throwing thing? Kind of like the yips for a golfer trying to putt.
Well, who are the famous players that had that? Chuck Knobloch,
Steve Sachs.
Pitchers, of course, afflicted with that. Just the inability to throw accurately. Yeah. Mackie Sasser, kind of the catcher. The catcher. Mike Ivey.
Steve Blass was kind of the heck, Rick Ankiel. Rick Ankiel's turned it around.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Ankiel's made the best of that situation. Now he's got the best throwing arm of any outfielder in the game. Murphy takes low and inside. Donnie Murphy's doubled, was walked intentionally, and struck out. Now, back to the discussion of aluminum bats and wooden bats. You're right. I mean, Stanton with an aluminum bat would be scary. But in college baseball, over the last few years, they have legislated and started to regulate the aluminum bats
with the density.
The density,
yeah.
And the weight to length distribution. I think the weight of the bat can only be 3 ounces less than the length in inches. So a 34-inch bat can only be, the lightest it could be at 31 ounces.
Either way, it would have been scary.
It would be, but not as scary as what 10 years ago. Some of those aluminum bats had air bladders in them, and they were really dangerous.
By the way, speaking of Rick Ankiel, he's homered tonight for the Nationals against Roy Halladay.
Tim in Tallahassee. How's everybody in Tallahassee?
They're looking forward to the Buster Posey arrival coming up with the Giants.
Donovan Solano.
Hey, he's going to get his first Major League at bat.
In Tallahassee, Tim wants to know, why do you call the staircase by the sculpture Conine's Stairway to Heaven?
It's more the Stairway to Minervini.
That's... Ow! Murphy gets hit. That's not the hand and wrist that he broke. It was the right one that he broke a couple years ago, but that doesn't feel very good at all.
Oh, that was on the hand. That was on that left hand.
Well, Marlins have had a couple players dinged up today. Kearns left with a hamstring, tightness in his hamstring.
Watch the bottom hand.
And we'll see if Murphy's okay to stay in there. Now, Solano's coming up as a pinch hitter. Infante is here and available. Murphy is going to stay in and run, but the real question is going to be once he starts to throw the baseball.
If he's unable to do that temporarily with Solano pinch hitting, you can keep him in the game and put him at second base.
So the first Major League at bat for Donovan Solano. And Craig had a chance to talk to him before the ballgame. Craig?
Yeah, Rich, he was a big smile. Only the 12th Colombian player ever to play in the major leagues. His family was able to follow it, watching our telecast. I believe it was on the internet last night. Said everybody just was thrilled for him. Now, Solano said, we all know Edgar Renteria was his hero, fellow Colombian, but it was that moment when, as a 10-year-old, he didn't even know who Edgar Renteria was. But Renteria gets the hit in 1997, wins the World Series for the Marlins. Solano finds out about this guy, Renteria, from an area right near him, and he said his dream began that day to play in the major leagues. A few years ago, he got a chance to practice with Renteria in the offseason. Got to see him at the Colombian Winter League games, but he told me he never told him that Renneria was his inspiration. He said, now I will tell him because I'm in the big leagues.
We were all impressed, Ozzie Guillen included, in spring training, watching Donovan Solano and the way he played the game, the little things that he did in knowing how to play the game.
Some of that has to do with the organization that he came up in, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals organization. Of course, if you want to talk Colombian ball players, Orlando Cabrera, a terrific middle infielder, a shortstop, and his brother Holbert also was a big leaguer and played over in Japan. Holbert Cabrera, and a base hit to right field.
Beauty.
First big league at bat, first big league hit.
Everybody on the field whistling because they want the baseball. And there it is. Joe Espada will hand it over. Congrats to Donovan Solano. The hits just keep on coming. That's what happened all spring, too.
A 24-year-old singling to right.
Nice fastball out over the plate. Just shot it through that hole.
He spent parts of the last 3 seasons in AAA with the Cardinals. Last year hit 284 in AAA.
And he showed Rich all spring the many different positions, the versatility he has in the infield too.
So he's at first, Murphy's at second. Top of the order, Jose Reyes.
It's amazing how it starts. There's Donovan Solano over there with his first major league hit, and behind him about 15 feet is a guy that has about 2,400 hits, Todd Helton.
Well, I'm sure can tell you that his first hit was one of the most memorable of those 2,400. Helton, who was the backup quarterback at Tennessee, actually was a starter for a time before Peyton Manning stepped on campus. Manning, of course, now in Denver and has been a regular at Rockies games. And he was at the game when Helton hit a walk-off grand slam earlier this year. That pitch is up to Reyes. Josh Renicky in his second inning in relief. 7-4, Marlins on top.
Back in 1997, in Todd Helton's first major league game, second trip to the plate, he singled off Francisco Cordova.
Francisco Cordova.
And later homered in that game.
Josh Ottman in the bullpen. The 3-1. Reyes watches it outside. Jettisons the bat. Second walk for Reyes. He's been on base 3 times tonight. And Brian Peterson comes to the plate. Base is filled with fish. Will Jim Tracy go to the pen? He will.
Yeah, he had the lefty Outman warming up, so that's who he's going to go to.
So Reyes' walk loads him up. And we'll take this time out. 7-4, Miami on top of the Rockies. Bags loaded, bottom 7.
for Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
In Miami tonight, Jim Tracy's had to go to his bullpen again. Josh Outman, the lefty out of the pen.
Appearing for the 6th time. Pretty good fastball, sometimes lacks a little command.
Outman out of Central Missouri State. 27-year-old. Spent his last 4 years with Oakland. He's got the Jamie Moyer Sox going. Throws a breaking ball for a strike. Those are the old style stirrups.
Yeah, the high stirrups.
With the sanitary socks underneath.
That used to be the way to wear them.
Now, were you a guy that put elastic in the stirrups? Some guys,
as a kid, yeah.
Yeah, some guys would cut the stirrup sock.
Have your mom sew elastic so they'd be higher.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
One.
I actually can remember guys, Rich, back in the 70s when guys had the high stirrups like that. Guys used to say, I hope I never get traded to Cincinnati. Because Cincinnati could not have it.
That's right. They wore the low.
Yeah, that was their look.
With the black shoes, short hair, no facial hair. They even made the mascot, Mr. Red, lose the mustache and clean up his act. Was it Bob Howsam, the general manager?
Yeah, very conservative, and that was their look.
We've had many questions tonight on a variety of topics. We thank everybody for all the emails and the tweets. Marlins trying to add on here in the bottom of the 7th, and some of the questions asking as to why there's no telecast tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Fox Sports Florida will not televise the Marlins and the Rockies. It's one of the very few games that are not available. Peterson swings and misses. Fox Sports Florida and the Marlins broadcast crew will do 150 of 162. Then you've got a couple of national ESPN games.
You've got about 4 or 5 Tampa games.
Right, and then you've got 3 big Fox games. So this is one of the very few games that will not be available. Josh Outman apparently was in for just 1 out.
Well, he was in for the lefty. Now Jim Tracy will make a move and get a righty for Hanley Ramirez.
7-4 Fish. Braun. Alex White, the right-hander for the Rockies. Carlos Zambrano for the Marlins. Look at Zambrano's ERA, 2-2 with a 1.96 ERA, 41 strikeouts for Zambrano. Hanley Ramirez waiting at the plate. The bags are loaded. There are 2 outs. In the bottom of the 7th, the Fish trying to add on. Hanley's had a nice night, 3 for 4. He's knocked home 2, and Matt Belisle is pitcher number 3 out of the pen, number 4 overall for Jim Tracy and the Rockies.
Busy Matt Belisle, 21st appearance of the year.
Slow breaking ball. And a strike, it's 0-2. Juan Nicasio started. 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Ricky Nolasco, 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, just 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. It was almost like Ricky in the 2nd inning found the curveball, something he'd been searching for the last 2 starts. And after giving up 3 runs in the 1st, Nolasco was outstanding. And he knocked home 2 runs with a big 2-run double himself.
All of a sudden, Hanley has his batting average over 250, 251 coming into this AB.
Bags full. Murphy was hit by a pitch. Solano got his first big league hit and his first big league at bat. There's Reyes, who walked for the 2nd time tonight. Belisle, a veteran out of the Rocky pen. Hanley steps out. (0-2) coming. We'll dive back into the emails and the tweets when the game allows. Ball in the dirt, just updating you on the rest of the National League East. Reds and Braves have gone final, and Cincinnati beats Atlanta 4-3.
It's 2 in a row for the Reds over the Braves.
And Coconut Creek's Matt Latos is now 3-2 with the win. They beat Brandon Beachy, who falls to 5-2. Washington beats the Phillies 5-2. Jordan Zimmerman beats Roy Halladay. And the Nationals are 26-17. The Phillies have dipped 2 under the 500 mark. The Mets came back and beat the Pirates 3-2. Hanley, a little flare down the right field line. It falls just foul. That would have cleared the bases.
Hanley was doing his best, leaning as he ran up the first baseline, trying to lean that ball fair.
And it was close.
Well, Roy Halladay now a pedestrian 4-4 record with a 3.58 ERA. Gave up 5 runs in his 6 innings tonight.
Marlins getting into the Rockies bullpen for the 2nd consecutive night and a 7-4 lead. Matt Belisle, Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez 3 for 4, all singles, 2 stolen bases, 2 RBI. 1-2. And it stays 1-2. This on a night where, at the very least, the Rockies have kept Giancarlo Stanton from breaking anything. He's 2 for 4 with 2 laser beam hits, 1 a double and 1 a single. But the Marlins on 12 hits have 7 runs. 15-5 in May are the Fish. And Belisle steps off.
And a win tonight would give them their 16th in the month of May, and that would tie their best ever May number.
A Toyota Trend. The fans not happy with this Toyota Trend. Or maybe it's a visit to the mound.
I think it's the visit to the mound.
with a win tonight. Official tie 96-97 in 2008.
And we told you early on, the most wins the Marlins have ever had in any month is 20. It was in August of 97.
The amazing thing, and it shows you how good the National League East is right now. The Marlins have gone 15-5 in May, and they're squarely in the middle of the division. They were 2.5 games behind Atlanta. So they'll gain, if they win tonight, a full game on Atlanta. But Washington has won, and the Nationals now are in first place. 1-2. Now it goes 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This is a good at bat that Hanley's having right here.
Hanley is now hit in 6 straight. He's driven in 29. Down low, a lot of shifting by Willeen Rosario, the rookie catcher. He was moving all over the place before that pitch.
Boy, now everybody will be on the move with a 3-2 2-out pitch. He'll go inside, taps a glove. He's trying to decoy Hanley that the pitch is going to be in, but if your pitcher doesn't have any control, that's useless.
Full count, bags loaded, 2 outs, bottom 7. Belisle got him. Matt Belisle outlasts Hanley Ramirez. And the Marlins leave them loaded to the 8th in Miami. 7-4 pitch. Are you hitting the road? Well, take the Marlins with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today. See every Marlins out-of-market game live on your favorite device in HD quality. Visit Marlins.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. 22,242. And they've been a lively bunch.
Yeah, they have. Mujica comes in, makes his 21st appearance. And a little bit of good news, Donnie Murphy goes back out. So that's good news for him. Tells you that where he got hit on that hand, everything's okay. Good to see him back out defensively.
Tommy, I just read the promo for MLB.tv, and it always reminds me when we have email and Twitter Tuesday, how many people around the country, around the globe, watch Major League Baseball on their iPad or their laptop.
You know, we had a tweet earlier from England.
We have one, and this doesn't have anything to do with baseball, but it's right up your alley, Tommy.
I'm a little worried now.
It's from Max in New York. It's hot in New York. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? I need inspiration. See, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you exactly my favorite. Rocky Road. Got a little nuts, got a little marshmallows in the chocolate. Good stuff.
There's your inspiration. Max, so time to hit the ice cream shop in New York on a hot night.
Or maybe on a real hot night, you go with some sorbet or a little gelato.
All right, don't get too sophisticated on me there. As you mapped out, Ozzie Guillen would like to go Cishek, Mujica, then Bell. Helton takes a strike. Well, here's Mujica, and he's following Cishek. So far, so good. And Helton with a sweet swing drives it in the gap. Cutting it off is Coughlin, who spins and throws to second.
And if it is, in fact, Heath Bell, it will be his third consecutive appearance. Remember, he had the save the last day in Cleveland, picked up the save last night.
To our friends in Tallahassee, you'll be happy to know that Buster Posey is homered, and the Giants lead the Brewers 6-2. Matt Cain is on the mound for the Giants. The Marlins will see him at the back end of that 4-game series that's coming up.
So they're scoring some runs for Cain tonight.
Yes. Let's see if the Marlins can keep CUDDYER off base. He is singled to drive in a run and has a pair of doubles. Laura is in Omaha, Nebraska. A lifelong Marlins fan who's been in Nebraska for 3 years, emailing to ask if you could talk about the feel of the new ballpark. Pitcher's Park, Hitter's Park. What kind of feedback have you gotten from players about the playability of the field? I rarely get to catch a game, and finally I get to watch on an email and Twitter Tuesday. So I'd love to hear about the new ballpark, any nuances that have arisen.
Well, let's see. Let's start with the playing surface. You and I both touch base with Joey Cora quite often, Joe Espada, coaching staff, to get a feel. Joey Cora told me that the field is getting better. It's in much better shape now than it was a month ago. That's good news. Just the overall ambiance, it's exciting. The crowd is into the games, and that has been a big help.
And as a great example of that, Laura and Tommy, last night, the moment, the home run from Stanton was amazing. But the whole moment, the fact that the crowd came to their feet in the 4th inning, the crowd understood the importance of the at-bat, the drama that was building. And the crowd, which last night was 25,000, came to their feet. This place was loud and rocking, and Stanton hit that grand slam. This place nearly came apart.
And as far as the way the field is playing, I think right now, you would say it's playing big, but we've seen home runs hit. We've seen a lot of extra base hits in the gaps.
This was the crowd coming to their feet as Moyer got set to deliver the 3-2 pitch.
And trust me, on a Monday night in the old ballpark against the Rockies, in that same situation, you wouldn't have that same feeling.
No, you'd have 5,000 people.
But now all of a sudden the Rockies get the tying run to the plate. Not what Ozzie had planned on.
And a guy at the plate who has 6 home runs. Randy Choate is ready. And Hanley will join the discussion.
So I think we covered all those questions. That who was it? Laura had, yeah.
Omaha. Just
getting ready for the College World Series.
That's an event that I've always wanted to attend, but have never been able to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've always been working.
It's a good song by Counting Crows as well. Check swing, no swing. Tim McClellan will be working the dish tomorrow night. Again, tomorrow night, one of the rare no TV nights for Marlins television. You can follow on radio, or if you've got the MLB package on your extra innings or on your iPad, MLB.tv. Drew Goodman will bring it home for you, along with Jeff Houston.
Yeah, the Rockies, they'll be televising.
They're good guys, great broadcasters. Drew, and we see George Frazier on occasion. Jeff is on the trip.
They kind of split duties.
Ryan Webb joins Choate. 2-1 to Rosario. And there's the fastball. Rosario fouls it out of play. Rosario has incredible power. Rookie home run leader right now.
I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't get that answer if that was a trivia question.
Willeen Rosario strokes it into left center field. That's a base hit. Helton is going to score. CUDDYER racing for third. And the Rockies are within 2. There's nobody out. Ozzie Guillen has watched the dependable Edward Mujica come in and give up a double, a walk, and a solid single.
Hanging slider to Rosario. It's never easy, is it? You'd love to map it out, have that Cishek, Mujica, Bell trio just close it out. And right now the struggles go to Edward Mujica. He may not be long in this game, and here comes Ozzie.
And with the left hand, it looks like he wants Choate. And so a rare off night for Mujica, who's, as I noted, pretty steady and dependable when it comes to throwing strikes and getting out. So he has to give up the ball, head to the dugout, and the Marlins go into their bullpen. 7-5 Fish. Rockies have runners at the corners, nobody out. Mojica's out. Randy Choate is in, and Jim Tracy's going to fire his best pinch-hitting weapon, Jason Giambi.
Well, you try to pick your spots. There are his numbers against Randy Choate. And Giambi's been one of those players that has made the transition to an everyday guy. I mean, a tremendous everyday player. He's an MVP back in 2000. But he's made the transition to become a real threat off the bench. He has 8 career pinch hit home runs. He has 1 this year.
One of those pinch hit home runs was last year against the Marlins and against Choate. And Giambi is just smoking hot right now, even though he isn't playing much. He's 5 for his last 5 with 2 doubles, 3 walks. You see his season numbers as a pinch hitter. 5 for 11. That was the 2-day span. He had the pinch hit homer against Choate in a dramatic win. Swing and a miss. Throw behind the runner, and Buck airmails the throw into left field. My goodness.
Wow.
Another run across, and it wipes out a shot at a double play.
And not only does it bring 1 run in, it moves another run into scoring position, which is the potential tying run there at second base. Rosario.
It's 1-2 on Giambi. And there's Willeen Rosario. Giambi in that 2-day span, the pinch hit homer against Choate and a walk-off against then Leo Nunez, now Juan Oviedo. Breaking ball, ground ball, foul.
Jim Tracy will give him the occasional start at first base so he can get some at-bats. And when they go into interleague play, he knows he has a DH on his head.
Obviously, he can't hit one here, but Giambi now with 8 walk-off homers in his career. Hitting one against the Dodgers earlier this season.
Look at that, 429 career home runs.
Two and 2. Tying run at second. Nobody out. And Choate almost uncorks a wild pitch.
Well, and the other thing, you almost forget because of the pace of these last couple of innings. But Ricky Nolasco left this game with a 3-run lead, hoping to pick up career win number 69.
Giambi at 41. Got to the postseason 8 times in his career. Only 1 World Series, and that was 2003 as a Yankee, and of course the Marlins beat the Yankees. Little tapper. Buck has it, and he'll throw to first in time, but the tying run 90 feet away. And let's see how Ozzie matches up from here.
Well, it looks like Tracy's going to pinch hit Eric Young Jr., a switch hitter, who's a better hitter from the right side. Not a lot of at-bats, but 4 for 9. So Ozzie's going to make the move, bring in a righty, and put Young over on the left side, who can't bunt, though, and you have to be alive for that with a runner at third base.
All things to consider, the Rockies run through Mojica and now Choate, and the third reliever of the inning is coming in. Webb enters, Sweet exits. manager has had to really try to mix and match with a lot of things that have gone wrong here in the 8th inning. Edward Mujica, normally the reliable, couldn't get anybody out. John Buck trying to pick a runner off third, threw it into left. Choate gets the out. He gets the hitter that he was assigned to get. That was Giambi. Now, with Ryan Webb coming in, Eric Young Jr. will flip around to the left side. As Tommy pointed out, he's a better hitter from the right side, but a threat to bunt.
Yeah, and you're certainly going to bring the infield in with one down. In the back of your mind, squeeze, but you usually on the road aren't going to squeeze for one run to tie the game when you're on the road. If you were at home, if the Rockies were playing at Coors, it'd be a different story.
So Webb is on, infield is in, Rosario is at third base. It's a one-run game. That is a strike. Webb, a Padre, and Young, a Rocky, have faced each other.
Good slider, and quickly ahead 0-2.
That's a nice pitch for Webb to complement a very good sinker.
If he can command just those two pitches, he's tough.
Oh-2 coming. Breaking ball didn't come far enough. Fox tracks, has it just off the plate. That's close. One-two coming. He got him with a fastball.
He went back with heat, 96 miles an hour. Boy, some great pitches by Ryan Webb in that AB to strike out Eric Young Jr. Showed him a little bit of everything and put him away with the high heat. Nice four-seamer. We talked about sinkers, two-seamers. That one he ran up in the zone.
So there are two outs. The tying run is still at third. You've got a good contact hitter in Marco Scutaro up right now. Scutaro walked back in the seventh. Inside corner. 0-1. And Scutaro hasn't delivered with a runner in scoring position this year. But he's a guy that, as we noted yesterday, who had a very good offensive year with the Red Sox last year. Webb tries the breaking ball, misses in.
Yeah, you see, good numbers last year with Boston.
That's a career high for him. At 299. It's rare that a guy at 35 will have a career high. But Scutaro is one of those guys that has always had the great glove. He's been a valuable asset, kind of a Mike Bordick type guy. Great glove. An okay bat.
A little more power than Bordick.
Ryan Webb trying to get out of this jam and protect the lead for Ricky Nolasco and the Marlins. 1-2. Rockies had an early lead in this one. 3-0 in the first. Marlins got two back in that first, and then climbed on top in the middle innings. Colorado is back within a run. 2-2 coming. Breaking ball, line to left. Coughlin after it, leaps and makes the catch. Wow! Chris Coughlin. I don't know if Austin Kearns makes that play. He left the game earlier with a hamstring injury. Coughlin out there got a good jump, a good read, and good timing on the leap. And it's still 7-6. Chris Coughlin. And here's a look at that play.
Boy, this ball was smoked. Cogs got a good jump. Took a shortcut to the route and then had to leap a little bit because I think the ball really fooled him. It was hit so hard and really jumped off the bat of Scudero. But a great reaction, great play by Chris Coughlin, and you bet you lead off the next inning, you make a play like that.
Ryan Webb getting two very big outs in the 8th. Rockies go further into their pen. 4th reliever to work, Esmail Rogers. You can see his numbers have not been the best this year. Coughlin, Stanton, Morrison.
Eric Young stays in the game in center field.
And it would behoove the Marlins to add some insurance here in a ballgame in which the Marlins have scored 7 runs, but they've also left 11 on. For those of you that have been watching the Heat game and flipping over to the Marlins game, the Heat up by 24 late. So congratulations to the Heat. They'll take a 3-2 lead in that series. I told you what a good infielder Scudero is, and he makes a nice play there. Here, the Marlins have a 7-6 lead in the bottom of the 8th. Heath Bell is warming up in the pen. If the Marlins can capture this win, you see Ozzie fidgeting next to Joey Cora. It's not been easy, but if the Marlins can keep this lead and win it, Ricky Nolasco would pick up the win. That's a mammoth pop-up that lands. Ooh. Let's hope that gentleman is okay. He's going to need some attention.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy for Heath Bell. Jordan Pacheco, and then Carlos Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, Helton, CUDDYER.
That one buzzed Stanton. 96 miles an hour. It's 1-1.
Now Rogers has Heat. use a little bit of everything, but the fastball is his main pitch. There's his slider. The Marlins have had, you look at opportunities, they're 4 for 16 tonight with runners in scoring position. So your point, exactly right. They've had a lot of chances with runners in scoring position. Of course, the Rockies are 4 for 15.
And Stanton goes down swinging. So Esmail Rogers has a couple of outs here in the 8th. And the gentleman that was hit by that pop-up, Marlins president David Sampson, with ice in the towel. He got the ball as well.
Look at, he's got ice on his eye and he's holding up the ball, saying, "I got the ball." That's a gamer.
Morrison 0 for 4.
Thumbs up, everybody's fine.
Though I would expect a shiner for the next
tomorrow.
few days.
Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow, the shiner and the swelling.
But I think wherever he goes, just take the baseball, and if people ask what happened, and just pull the ball out and say, "I was fielding a foul ball at Marlins Park, and I got the ball." 1-2. Morrison. When we talk about the struggles of John Buck and Gabby Sanchez, Morrison's in a funk right now too.
What's been a tough road. Just 2 hits in his last 25 at bats. He's hit some balls well, but he's also had some swings that he'd like to take back.
Two's out. 97. So Esmail Rogers certainly can bring it. See if he dials up 97 again. Nope, breaking ball. Morrison takes it. Lomo's aboard. And it brings up Buck. And Buck is scuffling. He's 1 for his last 20 with 9 strikeouts. Bottom 8. This has not been an easy one. It's certainly, if the Marlins can win it, well worth the wait. Trying to get to 24-19. Trying to be 5 over for the first time this year. 4 games over. The Marlins already are at their high water mark.
Yeah, this game, I guess it's safe to say it's been methodically played. But a win is a win, and that's all Ozzie wants out of this.
With 2 outs, Morrison, the runner at first. Rosario out to talk to Rogers. Last night, it was a 3-run cushion for Heath Bell. And the way this one is leaning, Bell will not have that cushion. This may be a new nationally record for most appearances by a pitching coach in the first 2 games of a 3-game series. Bob Apodaca has been out there almost every inning. And you brought it up. The struggles for the Rockies right now, pitching. Their starting pitching is not where it was 2 years ago when they had a real nice year. Or 3 years ago when Jim Tracy came aboard and they made that run to the wild card. Their starters are not getting deep, thus their bullpen has been overworked.
Well, they had, he's back off the disabled list, but they had Jeremy Guthrie on the DL. Ulis Chassin is on the disabled list now. Does a couple starters.
Jorge De La Rosa on the DL. The strike. So Buck trying to bust out. Marlins trying to add on. Rockies just trying to hang around and make a run for it in the top of the ninth. Buck goes after a low fastball. And that's it. When you're going rough like John is, a 3-1 fastball, kind of a half swing.
Well, he geared himself up for that 3-1 fastball. He got it, but it just wasn't a real good pitch to hit 3-1.
See if he gets the fastball 3-2. Morrison will be on the move. Rogers. Fastball in. So Buck walks. Donnie Murphy now.
Rockies tonight have only had one 1-2-3 inning. That was the fifth inning that Juan Nicasio pitched. That was his last inning, and he struck out the side. And the Marlins, Ricky Nolasco's third inning, the only 1-2-3 inning in the game.
Murphy's
been that kind of game.
Murphy's been. There's Greg Dobbs on deck. Rogers summons Rosario out there again.
I mean, they both speak Spanish. It shouldn't be a problem. You know, sometimes there's a lack of communication. You can see a catcher going back out to the pitcher. But obviously no hurry for these two guys.
Dial up a breaking ball, strike to Murphy. Was doubled, struck out, hit by a pitch, and was intentionally walked. And the Marlins once again find themselves with runners in scoring position. Now Rosario out in front of the plate. Oh, one pitch coming. That's in. And it's a ball and a strike.
I think Rogers falls into that category as a young pitcher that certainly has great stuff, closer stuff, but is still trying to find that command.
Murphy had a rip at the fastball. 1-2. This is for the Marlins is kind of an oddity in that this game is approaching 3.5 hours, and the Marlins have been playing quick games this year thanks to their starting rotation. Runner goes from second. Murphy's fly ball to center. Young makes the catch, and so Heath Bell, after all of this 3.5 hours, is going to come in and try to protect a 1-run lead. hours. 7 runs, 12 hits, 13 left by Miami. And Ozzie Guillen is hoping that none of those 13 left is going to come back to bite the fish. The Rockies, on the other hand, are hopeful here in the 9th. 6 runs, 10 hits, and 2 errors. Heath Bell comes in, and Bell gradually improving, getting better and better with each outing. The control better, the location better.
Yeah, I think at one time it was looking like we'd see Heath Bell come in to pick up a save with a 3-run lead. But with the job the Rockies did, put up a couple runs in that 8th inning, all of a sudden it's a 1-run ball game, and Heath Bell has the meat of the order to deal with for the Rockies.
Jordan Pacheco, Carlos Gonzalez, and Troy Tulowitzki. And if anybody gets on, you got to deal with Todd Helton and or Michael CUDDYER. And so Bell leans in, gets the sign from John Buck, and goes to work on Pacheco, who's had a nice run. Knocks one into the seats, a foul ball. Pacheco has hit an 8 straight with a single in the first.
You know, when he was called up, he was sitting over 430 in AAA, 17 games.
Bell ready in the 0-1. Breaking ball, that one's hammered down the line. Over for it is Coghlan. Pacheco around first, on his way to second, and he's gonna get there with a lead-off double. And now Bell has to face Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, and Todd Helton.
We talked about location that Heath Bell has had. That time his breaking ball stayed flat up out over the plate, and it was hittable for Pacheco, and he put a good swing on it. So not a good way to start, and really some tough hitters coming up now.
Carlos Gonzalez, not only a tough hitter, but this year with runners in scoring position, an incredible hitter. And he's got Pacheco out at second. Bell misses low and inside. Carlos Gonzalez, 429 with runners in scoring position. Amazingly, that doesn't lead the National League. Jonathan Lucroy of Milwaukee checked in at 552 at start of play.
The other thing about this matchup and Tulowitzki and Helton, they've all seen a lot of Heath Bell over the last 4 years in the same division.
Ground ball. Murphy gathers it and gets the out, and the tying run 90 feet away. And so Bell is going to duel Tulowitzki with Helton on deck.
Well, a productive out. Obviously, Gonzalez wants to drive that run in, but he at least pulled the ball for Jim Tracy and his ball club to get Pacheco over to third.
Tulowitzki 1 for 3 with an RBI.
Infield in.
Pacheco's at third. And Bell opens with a strike. We talked about all the at-bats that Tulowitzki and Helton have had against Bell in the National League West. Tulowitzki just 1 for 16.
With the infield in, too, you really see the space in the outfield between the back of the infielders and where the outfielders are.
The 0-1. And it's 0-2. Bell at 95 miles an hour.
Good heat on that last fastball. There's a look. All kinds of room out in here with the infield in. So we have to be careful. Little jam shot, something off the end of the bat. It's trouble.
A very similar feel to Coors Field. 0-2. Popped him up. Reyes makes the catch. Heath Bell, who gave up the leadoff double to Jordan Pacheco, has 2 outs. Pacheco's at third, and now Todd Helton. And Helton's bat has come to life. He's 2 for 4. One of his outs was a line drive to second. Doubled his last time up.
Yeah, and his double was one of those vintage Todd Helton doubles into left center field.
You see the numbers, very different from Tulowitzki against Bell. First pitch fastball, strike one. 96. That's as hard as we've seen Bell throw all year.
Ricky Nolasco can just wait and watch.
If Bell can save this game, Ricky Nolasco will blow by Dontrell Willis and become the all-time winningest pitcher in Marlins history. But Bell needs this out. Outside corner. 0-2.
Location. Great location, but outstanding velocity as well.
To Helton. Fouled off. Todd Helton, a bounce back year last year from an off year in 2010.
You have to wonder, Rich, if Bell will go back to the breaking ball. Remember, it was the breaking ball he hung to Pacheco that he doubled on. Ever since then, lots of fastballs and lots of really good fastballs.
Another 0-2. There's the breaking ball, and Buck smothers it. The count, a ball and 2 strikes.
He was going to make sure he didn't hang that one.
Well, Bell coming over, signing a 3-year contract. Had a decent spring, but as we talked about, it's hard to simulate and get a feel for a closer coming out of spring training. And it was a rough April. Better lately, and in a tight spot here. Tying run 90 feet away. 2 outs. 1-2 to help. Sailed it. Now it's 2-2. The many impressive things on his career resume. 2-2 coming. And that's fouled off. Helton has always been a tough guy to strike out. He's always a guy that has an enormous on-base percentage. His career on-base percentage is well over 400.
And more walks than strikeouts in his career.
Miami trying to go to 5 over for the first time this year. A strike away from doing that. But the Rockies have the tying run at third. 2-2. Got it looking. Ball game. Outside corner. Helton is caught looking. And the Marlins win it. And Ricky Nolasco picks up that elusive 69th career win.
He stuck with the fastball. That was his best pitch that inning. And he humped that one up to 96 in a great spot on the outer part of the plate to freeze a guy and strike out a guy who's real tough to get.
The Marlins win it. The Fish 16-5 in the month of May. The big league's best. Some final thoughts from Miami after this.